guys, it's KINO. Welcome to another video. So in today's Pick a Card, we are going to be finding out who your child or children will be. And as you can see from the title, this reading is for both current or future children. So you could have children already, you could want children or be planning to have children in the future, or you could even have children and also want to have more in the future. So whatever your case may be, this reading is for you. As you can see, we have a lot of options today. There are 6 options in total, and this is because each reading is going to be about one child. So there's a few different ways you can go about this. For example, if you have 2 children already, you could pick 2 piles, or if you want to have 3 children, you could pick 3 piles, or if there's a specific number of stones that are calling out to you, then maybe you want to watch all of them because, for example, if you feel called to 2 different stones, then there could be 2 spirit babies, 2 future children who are wanting to come forward. So like if you're not sure how many children you're gonna have or want to have in the future, you can see how many of them are calling to you, and that might give you an idea. But what this reading is going to cover is the child's core personality, zodiac signs and astrological placements, and then more details about who they are and what kind of life they're going to live. And then finally, we're going to see if they have any messages for you, any guidance for you, or if they need or want anything from you to live their happiest life. So without further ado, let's give you a close-up look at each of your options. Number 1 is Amazonite. Number 2 is Mozarkite. Number 3 is raw opal. Number 4 is Peacock Ore. Number 5 is Cobalto Calcite. And number 6 is Howlite. Okay, so as always, take all the time you need to pick. You can pause the video if you need to. I'm gonna go ahead and get started with number 1. Hi number 1s, so if you guys chose the Amazonite, this is, ooh, that matches my nails very nicely. This is going to be your reading all about your child, one of your children, if you were drawn to other piles or if you have several children. But I wanted to mention something just before we get into the reading. I have the word sweet tooth in my mind really strongly. So this child could be a sweet tooth, or another way I could interpret it, if this is a child that you will be carrying or you did carry this child already, maybe you would have a lot of like cravings for sweets while you are pregnant with them. Like you just want to eat all of the sugar. But yeah, I just needed to mention that little tidbit at the beginning. So the very first card that we are going to look at here, this is actually a playing card, but it will have a tarot equivalent. I just kind of wanted to use it because it's so pretty. But the first energy that we're going to look at here is like the core energy of this child. It could also be how they are when they are little, but it's like their earliest personality or their personality in their purest form, like the essence of who they are. So for this child, we have the 6 of Hearts, which is equivalent to the 6 of Cups, which is so freaking cute. Okay. The first thing that I actually want to mention is that the 6 of Cups can be indicative of a deeply familiar and deeply comforting soulmate. So I think that you guys have a very strong spiritual bond with this child. I mean, everybody has a very strong bond with their child, but there is something spiritual or psychic about this bond. You have likely had many past lives with this child. Again, if you are going to be the one who carries this child, or you did, you might have like very vivid dreams while you are pregnant with them, or start to have your clair abilities heightening, so clairvoyance, clairaudience, claircognizance. You might even dream about this child coming before they actually come. And I also think that this child, if they're not born already is something of a spirit guide for you right now. So they're watching over you, they're protecting you. If they've been born already, then I do think that they were a spirit guide for you throughout your life. I think it was a no-brainer to choose you as a parent. Like, you guys have been together since the dawn of time, and I think you guys have a really, really special bond. I also think it's likely that this child will have psychic abilities of their own and be a little bit different. And actually, what makes them different is that they're so freaking pure and they're so freaking sweet. I think that this is a very happy child, and from the earliest days of their life, they're gonna be very, very this is not an adjective, so never mind, but they're gonna be really, really inclined to share and to be very generous and to be very caring and nurturing. I'm thinking of the image of the Six of Cups on the Rider-Waite deck, which actually has 2 children on it. And one child is giving a flower to the other child. So whatever this child has, they always want to share. If they have toys, they will share them. If they have snacks, they will share them. If they're on a swing at the park, they will share and give their turn to somebody else. And it's not because they were taught to do this and they were disciplined into doing this. They just have that heart that wants to share and wants others to be happy. If this child is an older sibling, I think that they would be a very, very sweet and protective older sibling. They would love to snuggle their younger sibling. Could also be like, if you have a pet in the house, they will be really, really sweet and affectionate towards this pet. Or heck, even like even their dolls, even their stuffed animals, they will be so kind to them, talking to them, singing to them, making them tea parties. Like, they just want to comfort others. They really want others to be happy, and I think that's in their very deep instinct. I get kind of Cancerian energy from the Six of Cups, even though I think it's technically associated with the sign of Scorpio. I get that kind of nurturing, sweet Cancerian energy from it. This might be a child who likes to play like domestic games, like play house, like to play with fake food or pretend that they're cleaning the house or pretend that their doll is their child, or something like that. And is there anything else with this? I think that this is a very delicate personality as well. Very, very pure. I think that on the flip side of that, this could be a child who gets hurt easily. But let's take a look at the next card. So these are astrology cards. I'm just going to take one to see what their dominant energy is. And I'm also going to roll the astro dice, so we'll get a bit of zodiac information, but I just want to take one from this deck. Sorry if I'm kind of awkward. I feel like I'm always awkward in pile 1 because I'm just like getting a feel for how the reading's gonna go. So we have 2 dominant energies coming out. So one of them is Aquarius, and the other one is Mercury. So this child could have Mercury in Aquarius, which could mean that they are an Aquarius, Capricorn, or Pisces sun. But if I put these 2 energies together, I think that this child is going to be highly, highly intelligent. And this is also really confirming to me that there's some psychic abilities going on here, because Aquarius is ruled by Uranus, and I've heard Uranus described as like the higher octave of Mercury. So it's like Mercury is intellect and Uranus is genius, and I feel like this child has both. They will likely do quite well at school and have that kind of, book knowledge, but they also have this genius or this intelligence that can't be taught. And actually, when they're very, very young, they might say some things that you're like, where in the heck did that come from? Like, they must be talking about a past life, or they must have learned that from a past life, because there's no way that they could have that knowledge being freaking 2 years old. Or, there's no way they could have known that from this lifetime. They might just hit you with these bombs every now and then that are like really, really insightful. And you're like, man, you're wiser than some of the 40-year-olds that I know. I think they're very, very mature, very, very wise beyond their years because they are an old soul. With this Aquarius energy, I think that this person, I'm going to say this child, will have kind of a varied group of friends. I think they're going to be very well liked, but they'll have a group of friends that is very diverse, and they're definitely, even into their adult years, this is someone who's going to be very open-minded and who sees all humans as equal, no matter their social status, no matter their background, no matter how they express their identity. Like, humans are humans, and all humans are worthy of love. And this is like a really strong core value in them that I think that you will probably teach them, but that also just really, really comes natural to them. With Mercury, okay, so this child is really intelligent, but they might have an unconventional way of expressing it. So I did say that they will do well at school and have that kind of intelligence, but because of course this is a general reading, for some of you this child might be like a freaking genius but struggle in school, because the school system is like, all of the tests and all of the evaluations are based around a certain type of brain, like a neurotypical type of brain. And this child could be neurodivergent, or they just think differently. They kind of think outside the box. And so maybe when they're in a system that is grading you based on your ability to be in a box, they could kind of struggle with that, because I just feel like their mind is on another level. They could be really into writing. They could be really into communications. That might be something that they want to pursue when they're older. Like, they want to do something in, what's the word? Did I just say it? Media, writing, communications, film, something like that. But let's roll the astro dice as well to see if there's any other astrological information that we should know about them. So we have Saturn, we have the sign of Leo, and we have the first house. This is very, very specific, but this could be a placement that they have. Saturn and Leo in the first house. I do not know, actually, wait, no, I was gonna say I have an ephemeris, if that's how you pronounce it, in my day planner, but I think it only shows like 2022 and no, wait. Let me see. It might have the following years. I want to see when Saturn is in Leo, because if this child has not been born yet, then maybe that's some like insight on when they will be born. No, it does not have following years. My bad. So I'm gonna look it up. I'm gonna look it up when I'm done filming this reading and see when Saturn will be in Leo, because for some of you that might be like a confirmation. If there's a certain age or a certain year that you were thinking of having children, if the year doesn't match up to what you had in mind, no worries at all. You can just take that as an extra layer of confirmation. But actually what I'm seeing here with Saturn, Leo in first house, this might be a child who could struggle with confidence, because first house has to do with our identity, how we present to the world. Leo is about, shining our light, being confident, being proud of ourselves. But Saturn is an energy that, I don't want to say restricts us, but he can really test us to learn these lessons. So learning how to believe in themselves, learning how to be confident, learning how to come out of their shell could be like a big test for them in this lifetime. And I'm kind of seeing their character arc. I think this is a soul who is so incredibly gentle, so incredibly sweet, and really, really freaking intelligent. But they might come across some systems put in place, like institutions or societal norms that are very rigid, that make them start to question, like, is something wrong with me? Should I maybe not be confident because I'm different from everybody else? And it's so sad, because again, I feel like this person is so loved by everyone around them. Like, if only they came out of their shell, everyone would just love their head off. But if they're if they're too shy to come out of that shell, they might have a tendency to hide away or to feel like they're not good enough. So this could be something that they struggle with, and something that they just might need a little bit of extra encouragement with. So that's something to keep in mind. But let's move on to the oracle cards now. So I have various, oh, they're upside down. Whatever, I'll flip them over. Various oracle cards from different decks just to get some more information. We have protection. The fairies of protection are shielding you with a magical fairy ring of love and light. Practice psychic protection before embarking upon any spiritual work. Then we have insecurity, so that makes sense. And this card is associated with the root chakra, treasure island, and relationships. I am attracted to those people who serve my higher good. I'm noticing that we have the numbers 6 and 9. So this child could be born in June or in September. It could also be a date like June 9th or September 6th or something like that. That's pretty specific. So again, take it how it resonates, take it as confirmation if you would like to. If not, no worries. But let's start with this protection card. Again, this is like confirmation to me that this soul was protecting you, has been protecting you, has been your spirit guide. I also think this is a soul that will be heavily protected on earth by their spiritual team from the moment that they are born and as they move through the world. I was sort of getting the vibe that this is a soul that has a big purpose. They are going to play a role in changing the world, or in changing the way people think, or in helping people break out of their mold and their rigid view of like what is considered intelligent, what is considered talented, what is considered normal. They're kind of here to break some barriers. This is a soul that maybe has had many lifetimes in places other than Earth, more advanced places, if you will. No offense, Earth. But if you guys resonate with your soul having that kind of past experience as well, maybe this child is like your friend from another world, from a place other than Earth. But yes, they're going to be heavily protected, but I also think that this is speaking to their protective nature, like wanting to look after others, wanting to look after their siblings if they have them, their pets if they have them, or even you. This could be, and you know, they're so sweet and they're so wise beyond their years. I'm just thinking of a toddler. You know how toddlers are very much like me, and just having to meet their needs. I feel like even when this child is so little, they'll be asking you like, how are you doing? Are you tired? Do you need something to drink? Like, they will actually be checking in on you like this, and you're like, I'm the parent, I'm supposed to be doing this for you. And it's so freaking cute. They might bring you like some plastic food, like I brought you a snack, parent, or something like that. But it's interesting that we have protection and insecurity coming out together. So we spoke about this child being a very sensitive soul. And I'm actually thinking of myself as an example. Like when I was little, you know how when a kid does something cute, you laugh? And it's not that you're laughing at them. It's like, oh my gosh, this child is so cute. And you're just laughing at the cuteness. Well, I used to hate that when I was little. If I said something, because I wasn't trying to be cute. I wasn't trying to be funny. So when I said something and they laughed at me, like it hurt my feelings, you know, it made me feel embarrassed. And my mom would try to explain to me like, no, it's just because you're cute. And I'm like, I don't want to be cute. I did not like it that they were laughing at me. So, you know, little things like that, they might kind of take that personally. They could get their feelings hurt easily because, again, this is such a gentle and delicate soul. And I think something that will be important for you guys as a parent is finding this balance where, you know, there's a part of you that really wants to protect them from that which would hurt them. But I think there's another part of you that also wants them to learn how to have thick skin and to learn how to understand like that doesn't matter and you shouldn't let that get to you. So it's kind of a tricky balance, but I think that's something that will be a significant part of raising them. We have to teach them to be resilient. With that being said, this is like a really huge relief to me that we have relationships here. I'm attracted to those people who serve my higher good, because this tells me that this child will be surrounded by people who uplift them and support them. Obviously, you and, you know, your partner, or if you have one, or like their friends at school, their teachers, like they are going to be surrounded by really, really supportive people for the most part. And the other thing that really relieves me is that, you know, this child does have some insecurities, but as they move on into adulthood and they start, you know, like picking their friends, you know, it's not just who happens to be in their class, or, you know, getting into romantic relationships, I see that these insecurities are not going to like cloud their judgment in any way. If I can give an example of that, and it's just hypothetical, but, you know, maybe somebody who feels not very worthy or who feels insecure, they might pick a partner who doesn't treat them very well because they just think that's what they deserve, or they just think that's what love is like, kind of thing. But I don't see this affecting who is around your child or who they choose to be in a relationship with. Both the people they happen to end up around and the people they will choose to be with later on in their life are going to be people who support them and really treasure them and serve their higher good. This child could also have a lot of lifelong relationships. So the people they're friends with as a child, they stay friends with into adulthood. They could have like a really, really long, significant romantic relationship. Like they could end up with their high school sweetheart or something like that. Because sea turtles make me think of longevity, and that's right next to relationships. So like they definitely know how to pick them. I can say it that way. They're definitely good at keeping positive influences around them. And I think deep down, you know, you will have definitely instilled this in them, that they deserve to be treasured. They deserve the highest love. And I do think that being confident and being resilient, this is something that they'll be actively working on. Also with this Treasure Island card, I think that this child is incredibly patient. This card makes me think of like good things come to those who wait. Someone did point out to me once that sea turtles are not that slow when they're in the water, but still turtles make me think of slowness. So like the slow and steady person gets the treasure. So they really understand, like, if I'm consistent, if I work hard and I don't give in to distractions or instant gratification or whatever it is, I can make my desires a reality. So this is a very patient person, very hard worker. I think they don't give up on their loved ones. They don't give up on relationships. They're incredibly loyal as well. Also, with this turtle swimming away across the sea, when they're older, they might want to move overseas or move to a faraway land or something like that, because I think they have big dreams and I think that they're going to do big things. But let's get into the tarot now. So there's two different decks I want to use. They're both bear themed and they're both mini size. This is the Way of the Panda Tarot and this is the Gummy Tarot. They're both super adorable. But with this one, we're gonna see what kind of life this child will live. So looking more into their later life. And then with the final deck, the Gummy Bears, we're gonna see messages from them, guidance from them, requests from them, like what they need or want from you. I'll leave it open. Like I'm just gonna give them the mic. Okay, so group number one, the Amazonite. So what kind of life will this lovely child live in the future? We have the sun. Oh my gosh, that's amazing, because we saw earlier with the Astrodice, like a big lesson for them, because this is Leo energy, a big lesson for them is learning to harness this Leo energy, to be confident, to come out of their shell, to let their light shine. That's gonna be like the big test for them and something that they might struggle with when they're younger. So for this to be the first card that pops out when we get to their later life and they are the sun and they are letting their light shine, I'm so proud of them. This child is really such a ray of sunshine. They are gonna make so many people happy. I think that it's likely they will get into something creative and something that really puts them at the forefront. So they're not gonna be hiding away. They're not going to be behind the scenes, or even if they try to hide, their light will shine through. You see how this big bright panda is trying to hide behind this twig? It's like, we can see you. We can see your brilliance. You can't hide anymore. Come out. So they're definitely coming out of their shell. Where should I put this? I don't know. They're definitely coming out of their shell later on in life. And we also have the Four of Cups. Yeah, I do think that this child will end up moving away. I feel like, because the Four of Cups is about boredom and dissatisfaction, I think that once they do come out of their shell and realize like all of the big things they're meant to do, they might, and yeah, the butterflies are about transformation. They might feel like, okay, it's time to move away. And this could be something that is really sad for you because, well, like, it's bittersweet, right? Because on one hand, you're so happy that your child is expanding their horizons and making the world their oyster. But on the other hand, you're gonna miss them like crazy, right? Like when they leave the nest. But I definitely think that this child is likely to end up far away from the nest because I think that they're gonna get bored of their current situation and they're gonna feel in their gut like, it's time for me to transform, it's time for me to evolve and see what's out there. With the sun here, there might be a significant like time difference in the future, because I was just thinking like when you see the sun, they see the moon, and vice versa, something like that. But they'll probably end up somewhere really cool and then you can go and visit them. That is a lot. If this child isn't born yet, they're probably trying to get your attention and talk to you a lot. Or if they're already born, then they were doing that. And we also have the Seven of Wands. So I love this, I love this. We saw them, so much development. We saw them before as someone who is quite delicate, easy to get hurt, needed to learn how to be resilient. And then this Seven of Wands, this is about like battle and taking on what is being thrown at you. So this is like, bring it on, come at me kind of energy. And I actually think they're learning to be a little bit confrontational. They're learning to be a little bit assertive, you know? And that doesn't mean that they're not this sweet, kind, and compassionate soul anymore, but they just realize, man, like Earth, we're not in Kansas anymore. We're not in our peaceful planet anymore. We're on Earth, and we gotta suit up and protect ourselves from the bullshit. So as they get older, I think they're gonna become a little bit more tough, a little bit more rough around the edges, and they'll start to bite back. They will start to fight back. Like with peace and love, get out of my face. I don't want to deal with you. And I think they're gonna realize that you can have love for someone as a fellow human on this earth, and you can have compassion for humanity, but still realize that not everybody's energy is for you. And just because you're very kind and nurturing, it doesn't mean that everyone is entitled to that. You know, you're gonna be respectful to people, you're gonna be civil to people, but you do not owe everyone your beautiful, sweet, nurturing interior. So they're gonna learn how to protect their energy a bit more, I think, and learn how to fight back. And I think they're gonna become a lot more of a go-getter, who's really coming out of their shell. All of the things we spoke about that they would need to work on, it's just coming together so beautifully. I love to see that. So we're getting into the final deck now. Let's see what messages this child has for you, or what they might want or need from you. We have the Two of Wands. And we have the Ten of Swords. So the way I'm seeing this child develop, it seems like when they're little, they could be very, very affectionate, very, I want to say almost like clingy towards you. Like they really want to be around you. They really need you. And I feel like as they get older, they're really going to want to be independent. Again, we have this bear is holding the globe. So there's a lot of messages about like this child going somewhere far away. They might be going to pursue something that is unconventional. But as they get older, they're becoming more and more like bold, more and more confident, more and more independent, and they're gonna kind of want to venture off. And I think they're just saying that this independence and freedom is really, really important to them. And I don't think that you guys are going to hold them back in any way, but I think they're just saying like all they need from you is that you support them in doing their own thing, in making their own decisions, in choosing their own journeys. But with this Ten of Swords here, it's almost like a warning that this shift could be really sad for you, even if it happens gradually. You know, like my little baby who was always like following me around and checking up on me and always wanted me to snuggle them and always wanted me to carry them. Like they don't need me anymore. Like that could be really, really tough for you guys, especially if they're going so far away. So they're almost sheepishly like, I know it's gonna be hard, but I really need that support from you. That support is gonna make a world of a difference. It's gonna give me the confidence I need to go out there and kick the world's butt. So just encouraging their independence, I think, is their biggest advice for you. And when it comes to this balance between protecting them versus letting them grow a thick skin, they might be advising you to lean a little bit more towards the letting them grow a thick skin side of things. Yeah, and also with the Ten of Swords, sometimes I see this as someone who would literally do anything for you. So maybe try not to do too much for them, whether that is like picking up after them or helping them with schoolwork or helping them through all of their problems. We just need to strike a healthy balance where obviously you want to support them without like holding their hand through everything or feeding them all the answers. I think sometimes the best approach will be just like detaching and letting them figure it out on their own. And they'll be confident to do that because they know that if they were ever really in a crisis that you would be there for them. But, you know, slowly letting go of them and letting them learn for themselves and make their own mistakes, I think is what they're asking of you, or what they're thanking you for if you've already been raising them like this. But group number one, child number one, these are all the messages I'm seeing for you. So I'm going to end the reading here. Thank you very, very much for letting me do this reading for you. I hope you have a wonderful day or night whenever you're watching, and I wish you all the best. Please take good care of yourself. Stay healthy. Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe if you feel like doing that. I also have a Patreon, so if you guys are interested in seeing even more exclusive pick-up cards where you get to choose the topic, that will be linked down below too. And I have a music channel. The song that you guys heard at the very start of this video was an original song, so if you're interested in checking that out or any of my other songs, the music channel will be linked below as well. I'm sending so much love to you, to your child, and to your spiritual teams, and I will see you in the next one. Bye-bye. Hi, number twos. So if you guys chose the Mozarkite, this is going to be your reading all about this particular child in your future or whom you currently have. So this happened for group one as well, where there was like an odd specific message that was coming to me before getting into the cards. And for this group, I'm sorry, but the message that is coming to me is that like this kid has to go to the bathroom all the time. So like the example that I'm being shown is like, let's say you're on a road trip and then you literally stopped like 20 minutes ago and they're like, parent, we have to stop again. And you're like, are you kidding me? So I don't know, very specific message coming through. Maybe that's just the vibe today. We're getting the specific downloads. I'm not even sure how that would resonate for you unless like you already have this child, or maybe that's you and this runs in the family. But let's get into your cards. So the very first card that we are going to look at here is actually a playing card. I just wanted to use it because it's so cute. And this is gonna show us like your child's core personality. This could also be who they are when they're little, but it's like the purest expression of who they are, the essence of who they are. So The card that we have for this group is the Three of Diamonds. This would be equivalent to the Three of Pentacles in tarot. So right away what's coming through is that this child is going to be quite hardworking and responsible. This is like the, what is it called? Not teacher's pet, but I guess like the straight A student, the kid who gets all their work done, the kid who, you know, the kid whose homework you copy because they're getting all the answers right. This is the kind of vibe that they have. They might also be very involved in extracurricular activities or have a lot of hobbies that they want to get into. So they may be enrolled in sports or music lessons or clubs at school or something like that. This is someone who works really well with others and cooperates really well with others. So that might be something that you see on their report card, you know, like they work well in a group, they encourage others. I think they have a naturally motivating and supportive personality. So if people are working alongside them, they naturally do a better job. They just have that energy that lifts everyone right up and makes people want to do their best. And if this child is a sibling, I know that they're going to be such an amazing and supportive sibling. I'm also feeling like this is a child who's very fair and understanding. Where some little kids might be more on the selfish side, I think that they're gonna have a natural knack for like seeing all sides of a story or seeing all sides of a situation. You don't really have to like argue with them or try too hard to reason with them. They're like, yeah, that makes sense. So an example I'm thinking of is like, let's say you're at the dinner table and this child really wants to eat cookies. And you're like, okay, how about you just eat a few more bites of your vegetables, or just finish this one part of your plate and then you can have some cookies later, okay? And they're like, yeah, that sounds fair. That sounds like a good idea. I should eat healthy food. And it's just like the cutest thing ever. Like they get it. I think that they're very mature in that way. I'm also seeing a specific image, like if you are a business person or you work at home, or your partner, if you have one, is a business person or works at home, they could kind of like copy what you do or what you say at work, and that's really, really cute. Like they'll be like, I'm coming, mom. I just gotta finish up this Zoom meeting. I just gotta finish up this business call. We're closing a deal on Friday. And like, they might not really know what they're saying, but they like to, because they see their parent or their parents working and they look up to you and they think that's really cool. So they might like to pretend that they're doing that work as well. And like, oh, I'm so busy. Look at me doing all of these things. And actually, this might be a child who knows what they want to be when they grow up from a very, very young age. You know, like from, I don't know, from kindergarten, they're like, I want to be a teacher, or I want to be a mechanic. I don't know why that one came to me, but they might have this career that they're really, really passionate about. And for some of you, they might actually go on to have this career in the future. So yeah, this is a really like dedicated, responsible person. So let's take a look now at their, oh my gosh, zodiac signs, astrological placements. I'm just gonna pull one card from this deck to be like their dominant energy, but we are also going to roll the astro dice. So we'll get a few different information about their placements. All right, so the card to represent their dominant astrological energy is Libra. Very, very interesting, because we had that message of them being able to see both sides of the situation and being very fair and being very reasonable. It's also interesting that this card is coming up because when I was speaking about their personality, there was this little voice in my head that was like, I hope that they will also feel okay to put themselves first, and I hope that they don't always feel like they need to be keeping the peace and that they need to be supporting and serving everyone else around them. I hope that they also learn to serve themselves and to take care of themselves. So that might be something that you want to just put a little bit of extra effort to instill in this child. Like, If you're asking them if they want to go somewhere, if they want to do something, are you sure? Do you really want to go? Like you can say no if you want to say no, or you know, teach them about their boundaries, like with other kids at school or like with adult relatives. Just make sure that they always know that what they want to do matters and their opinion matters. And I think if you teach this to them from a young age, they will be fine. But I think the Libra energy is just kind of showing something that they could be prone to. I think that with the Libra energy here, this child could also be like a very talented musician or a very talented artist, or they have very good taste. They have very good eye for things. They could be like really, really good at drawing. So while everybody else in the class is drawing random blobs and like stick figures, they're like, you know, when SpongeBob draws the perfect circle and he's like, well, first I drew this head, and he draws a perfect head, and then I erased some of the details, and then I got this circle. Like when it comes to like handwriting, drawing, expressing their opinion, I feel like they're just miles ahead of everybody else, and they, you know, they're very I think eloquent is the word, or like very articulate. They might be very particular about what their room looks like. So you know, they could have themed rooms growing up, or they want everything to be a certain color, or they could have like a musician that they're really, really into growing up. I'm just thinking of all things Libra, all things Venus as well. And I think this will also be a child who has really, really close friendships. So like even when they come home from school, they're just talking to their friends all day, and probably when they get older, all they want to do is like go and hang out with their friends. Let's roll the astro dice as well and see what else is coming up. But yeah, they could be a really, really good business person actually, when they're older, with the Three of Pentacles and Libra. Like that's like, they have people skills, they have business skills. They could also be in fashion, interior design, architecture, landscaping, anything where they're designing something or where they're in charge of some kind of visuals. I feel like they would be really good at that. Photography, did I say that already? Could be photography as well. Stylist, makeup. Okay, oh my gosh, we have even more. Oh my gosh, Taurus and Venus. So we have 3 cards that talk about Venusian energy: Libra, Taurus, Venus. And then we also have the 6th house here, which is very interesting because if you were a Taurus rising, you would have Libra in the 6th house. So I know that's very specific, but that could be their placements. They could be a Taurus rising, then they would have Libra in the 6th house, or they could be a Libra rising as well, and they could have Venus in the 6th house or something like that. Okay, so when it comes to this Taurian energy, we definitely have a reinforcing message that this is someone who is going to be very hardworking and very dedicated. It's interesting because Taurus energy is kind of stubborn, so they definitely have that in them. I think they need to be taught that like what you want matters, your opinion matters. When you want something, you should go for it, you should stick to it, and then there is no stopping them. I think that when this child really wants something, when they're really passionate about something, like nothing can stop them. I think they're very, very perseverant. If they're trying something and they're not very good at it, I don't think that discourages them at all. That just makes them want to try even harder. Like, I know that I can get this. And they'll just keep going until they can get it right. And with the 6th house here, I do think that this person is quite organized. It's funny because when I was talking about having their room all in one color, I was thinking maybe they also like have a really specific way of organizing their toys or organizing their, I don't know, what do you have in your room? Stationery or something like that. Or like organizing their clothes in their dresser or something like that. They could have some Virgo energy in them as well. I think there's certain things that they're very, very particular about. But then like if it's something that they don't care about, they'll just be really, really breezy about it. But when it comes to their preferences, especially like their room, they could be a picky eater as well. Like they're very particular about what they want to eat and what they don't want to eat. There's certain things I think where that like stubborn energy or that picky energy kind of jumps out for them. Also kind of specific, but there could be something with their skin. I know that sounds weird. They could have like a lot of freckles on their skin, or they might sunburn easily, or maybe they have like dry skin. Like when I was a kid, I had really bad, like in the winter time, my hands would get all like dry and crackly, and then sometimes they would bleed. So they could have really sensitive skin. That's like specific message, but I wanted to mention that as well. Okay, so let's take a look at the oracle cards now. Oracle cards from various decks to get some more information about them. We have Magical Gateway. It takes courage and trust to venture into the unknown, yet this is where the greatest rewards are. It's time to step boldly forward without looking back. We have Creation, and this card is associated with the crown chakra. I'm gonna move these over here. Higher Power. And Imagination. I embrace and nourish the creative aspect of my mind. Okay, yeah, this child is highly creative. I think they're going to be a very artistic person, because we have creation, we have imagination, we have all of this Venusian energy. Yeah, they're going to be a very skilled artist, whether that is like visual art or music or something like that. That could very well be the thing that they want to make into a career, or it could just be something that they really enjoy doing. But that energy is coming through really strongly, and I think sometimes they're going to create things that are just so breathtakingly beautiful that they have to have come from their higher self, or they have to have been channeled from some higher power. Like, how could such a small child create art like this, or create something so beautiful like this? I think there will be many moments like that. But I think this child is heavily protected. We have this Magical Gateway card here. So there's a little bit of like a bold and fearless energy with this child as well. If there's like a group of kids who are getting up to some mischief, I feel like this is the kid who will be like, I'll do it first. This is like the first kid to jump into the lake, or the first kid to touch the weird bug, or you know, they're not afraid to do the kind of daring things. But with that being said, I honestly don't think that they're ever going to get into any kind of serious trouble or any kind of serious accidents, because they're tapped into a higher power. They're tapped into their crown chakra. So while they might not be consciously assessing like, oh, maybe this is a little dangerous, maybe this is a little risky, they're constantly receiving downloads about that they would never get into a situation that is genuinely dangerous, and they're just being adventurous and having fun. So that divine message of protection comes to them through their crown chakra, and they stay out of trouble. This is how I'm seeing this. But yeah, I definitely think that they create things through some kind of psychic or spiritual ability. I think that the art that they create, what they put out, is very divine and very moving. And I hope that you guys would like proudly display anything that they create. So like put their drawings up in your house, or let them play their instrument and let the sounds fill the house. I think giving them the space to create freely is going to be really good for them. And you know, what is it called? Nurturing their imagination. This might be a child who likes to play a lot of like make-believe games. They might like to make up a lot of characters like for themselves, you know, pretending to be other people, which if they're Libra or Libra rising, that might be why too. You know, like wearing other hats, putting themselves in other people's shoes, assuming different roles. They might really like to like play around with characters, or write stories, or have imaginary friends, or like we spoke about before, pretend to be in different jobs and fulfilling different roles. And I think that's something that will be really, really healthy for them. And I think that's something you should really encourage, like really encourage to let their imagination run wild and really support any creative endeavors that they want to go after. And I would say, even if you have your own biases of like, I don't know how much I should support this because maybe it's not a viable career, try to be supportive of whatever their imagination is dreaming up. So let's get into the tarot now. I have two different decks that I'm going to use for this part. They are both bear themed and they are both mini sized and they're both very, very adorable. This is the Way of the Panda Tarot and this is the Gummy Bear Tarot. So with the, oh my God, the ocean's going crazy. With the Way of the Panda Tarot, we're gonna see who this child will grow up to be and what their life will be like. And then with the Gummy Bear Tarot, we're gonna see what messages they have for you or what advice they have for you, what they want or need from you, or they could come through to thank you, which is kind of what happened in group one. Like, you know, thank you for raising me this way, whether that's current or future energy. All right, so group number 2, our Mozarkite child. Who is this child going to grow up to be and what will their life be like? We have the King of Cups. And we have the Devil and the 8 of Wands. All right, so we do have some Capricorn energy coming through here. But with the King of Cups, this is just further showing to me like, I feel like this child has got to do something in the arts or even something kind of spiritual or esoteric in nature, or they have to do something that is going to help people, that is going to heal people, that is going to move people, that is going to make them feel things. I think that this is the kind of career that they will end up in. And I really, really think that this child has to do something that they're in love with. They have to do something that their emotions are in it. When a Cups Court card comes up for like your future path, I always kind of feel a message like this. Like, this is not someone who will be okay working a job that they're not passionate about just for the security, just to pay the bills. I do think that they will end up, you know, pursuing a career that is very like Venusian in nature. They might have their own business. They might be an artist. Maybe they're like the owner of an art gallery or something like that. Because I feel kind of an elite nature or like an elegant nature with them. I'm not gonna lie. I feel like they're gonna make it up pretty high on the ladder with this Devil card as well, because the Devil's related to Capricorn and 10th house energy. So someone with high status, someone who is highly regarded, who has a good reputation, who is very ambitious and who has made their way to the top, especially compared with this King energy. They could even be, you know, one of the big guys at a music label, or they could be like a music conductor. It feels like they're the head of something, or the director of something. Or they could even be like, I don't know what the word is for this, but someone who like gets grants for artists, or who organizes like investments or fundraisers for artists. They could be someone who moves money and supports like business people, artists, people who want to do unconventional things, something like that. But I feel like they're doing something very prestigious, if that's the right word. I definitely think that when they're younger, I don't think they're really gonna have awareness of this higher power that's been guiding them, or awareness of their crown chakra being so active and them having these psychic abilities. But I think that when they get older, it's something that they will realize, and maybe they're following in your footsteps if you continue on your spiritual journey. But I do think that they're gonna have a very close relationship with their spirituality and have some kind of spiritual practice. I also think that they're going to have done an amazing job in their emotional well-being, in their healing. I think they're going to grow up to be a very peaceful person, someone who knows themselves very well, like is very self-aware. And I think that they'll have a very happy relationship and a family of their own one day as well. With this devil here, I'm honestly not too concerned about this devil. You know, I'm sure you can tell from the image and the fact that this card is called the devil that it doesn't always have the most positive meaning, but I think that this is more so talking about their position. And devil also talks about, okay. The devil also talks about like temptation and human vices. And you know, when you get into the arts or when you get into industries or areas where there's a lot of money and there's a lot of high status, that could be an environment where you tend to see the vices of human coming out, like the temptation, like greed or lust or pride. You know, when you're in these kind of fields of work, those kind of things could come out easily. But I feel like because your child has done so much inner work and because they have such a close relationship with spirit and with their soul and they know who they are, they don't get tempted by these kind of things. Like they enjoy doing what they do, but they understand that it's just that. They don't get like lost in it, or they don't get swayed over to the dark side of it, if that makes sense. So like, for example, if this child is in the music industry, they don't get tempted to the dark side of the music industry or like the corrupt side of things. They move through the arena that they're in a pure way, in a non-corrupt way, because they're good with themselves and they're secure within themselves. This is definitely something that will be largely thanks to you as the person who guided them and the person who raised them. So they might be coming through to thank you for that. With the Eight of Wands, I do feel like your child could be successful quite young, because the Eight of Wands makes me think of things happening really, really quickly. It could also be that they have a really sharp wit, actually. And Eight of Wands can even also talk about receiving downloads. So they're definitely tapped in. They're definitely very, very sharp. I think that also the devil can talk about snakes. So I think that this child is too smart to be like tricked or too smart to be deceived. I think you're instilling in them a very, very sensitive bullshit meter. And so you don't have to worry about anyone like deceiving them or tempting them or pulling the wool over their eyes. Like they're always going to stay very grounded. And yeah, I think they will find success quite quickly. And I think that they're also going to be someone who actively practices manifestation with these two cards here, being in touch with their spiritual side, and with the Eight of Wands having a meaning of manifestation. That's really cool. So to finish off this reading, we are going to take a look at our gummy bears and see what your child would like to tell you. Whether it's just a message for you, advice, a request, a thank you. We will leave it to them and see what they'd like to say. So for our Mozarkite child, what would you like to tell your parent who is watching? We have the Seven of Wands. Yeah, you need to teach this child how to say no. And you will, because they're becoming very strong and very sharp, very good at taking care of themselves. So maybe this is them thanking you for teaching them that. But that's a big one for them with the Three of Pentacles energy, with the Libra energy, and now the Seven of Wands. Teaching them to say no is going to be very, very important. Because you see this little bear here, he only has one stick. And all of these, okay, and sometimes you have to say no to them. All of these sticks are coming up and he can't fight them all off on his own. It's too much. This is someone who could be prone to being a yes person, being a people pleaser, or biting off more than they can chew. So for example, we already spoke about teaching them to say no, so I won't like repeat myself too much. But you know how we spoke about like at the very start of the reading, this is someone who will enjoy like a lot of hobbies, a lot of extracurricular activities, hanging out with their friends. Like they're going to be really, really involved. Sometimes you might have to say no if, like, for example, let's say they are already taking swimming lessons and violin lessons, and they go to track and field at like after school or something like that. They already have so much on their plate, and now they're asking you, I want to do this, or I want to volunteer, or something like that. They want to put something else on their plate, and you might have to say no to them to protect them. Like, I love that you want to be so involved. I love that you have so many interests, but I'm worried that you are going to exhaust yourself. I'm worried that this is going to become too much of a burden, or too stressful for you. And maybe that's kind of where their stubbornness comes in, or where you might have to fight them a little bit, like to help them see, I'm just trying to protect you from having like a breakdown where you don't have time to do everything, and you're burning out. So teaching them how to say no is one thing, but also like saying no to them when it's for their own good. You know, with the Hanged Man here, it's funny, he looks pissed on this card, which is kind of, it's not typical of the Hanged Man. Usually we see him looking very, very serene, and it's all about accepting that you're hanging there, but he's like, meh. He looks pissed, he looks bitter that he's hanging there. So imagine this is like your child, and you're like, I'm not letting you go anywhere, I'm not letting you move, and they're protesting, they may be trying to put up a fight, but I think sometimes you'll have to stop them from being too involved or being too hardworking, or there could even be, like, I just got an example of like your child was sick and they missed 3 days of school, but now there's like a project due tomorrow and they're like stressing and scrambling to get it done, and you're like, no, that's dumb, you should get an extension, you were just sick, you shouldn't have been expected to work on this project. And they're like, no, but my teacher said I have to do it. Then you might have to put up a bit of a fight and be like, no, that's bullshit. Like, I think you just have to protect when they are overexerting themselves, when they're doing too much to meet others' expectations. You kind of have to step in and fight for them, or I should say teach them how to fight for themselves, because that's going to get them very, very far in their future. And yeah, sometimes they might be bitter about it, and they might be pissed, and they might feel like you're keeping them hostage when they want to do all of these things, but it's for their own good. So this could be them coming through from the future to give you permission to do this, or thanking you for doing this. But yeah, teaching them to protect their energy and not overextend themselves is going to be super, super important. And then, but this is their future, so I'm not worried. You'll do an amazing job. All right, so group 2, these are all the messages I'm seeing for you, so I'm going to end your reading here. Thank you very, very much for letting me do this reading for you. I hope you have a wonderful day or night whenever you're watching, and I wish you all the best. Please take good care of yourself, stay healthy. Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe if you feel like doing that. I also have a Patreon, so if you guys are interested in seeing even more exclusive pick-a cards where you get to choose the topic, that will be linked down below too. And I have a music channel. The song that you guys heard at the very start of this video was an original song, so if you're interested in listening to that one or any of my other songs, the music channel will be linked below as well. I'm sending so much love to you, your child, and to your spiritual teams, and I will see you guys in the next one. Bye-bye! Hi number 3s, so if you guys chose the raw opal, this is going to be a reading all about this particular current or future child of yours. So the very first card that we're going to look at, this is actually a playing card. I just wanted to use these today because I think this deck is really cute, but it will have a tarot equivalent. So this card is going to tell us sort of the core personality of this child. You can also think of this as like how they are when they're little, so kind of the purest or most untainted version of their personality. But let's take a look at what we have here. So for group number 3, we have the 9 of Diamonds, and this would be equivalent to the Nine of Pentacles in tarot. The first thing I want to mention, we will get into some more zodiac related info later on in the reading, but this card reminds me of September Virgos, because actually the Nine of Pentacles is associated with the sign of Virgo, and then September is the 9th month, and people born in September can be Virgos. I don't know why that was so hard for me to say, but this child might be a September Virgo. They could also have Venus in Virgo. That's the zodiac association of the Nine of Pentacles, which means that they could be Cancer, Leo, Virgo, Libra, or Scorpio. Those are the signs that can have Venus in Virgo. But let's get into the personality now. So the first keyword that is coming to me with this card is independence. I think that when this child is little, they're going to play very well on their own. So the first example I'm being shown is like, if you guys are really busy, you have a lot to do around the house, I think that this child would be perfectly capable of keeping themselves entertained, like, oh, there's a book, or there's a toy, or there's a puzzle, or there's something I can watch on TV, and they're perfectly fine to hang out on their own and do their own thing. This child could have a little bit of ambivert energy going on. I don't think they're entirely introverted or entirely extroverted. I think that they have a little bit of both in them. So while they do very well on their own, I also think that they work and play very well with others. And I'm sort of getting the sense that when this child is old enough and goes to school, they will have a lot of friends and sort of be like the popular kid, and not in the way you see it on TV where like the popular kids are mean and shallow, but popular because they have an amazing personality. They're wonderful to be around. I think they're going to be very kind, very generous, supportive, and encouraging souls. And I'm hearing that's something that they're going to learn from you, because you guys are that way as well. And I also think that this child is going to be very confident. The Nine of Pentacles gives me like this confident, badass energy. Like, I love myself, I'm living my best life. So I love to see that. I think that this child is going to grow up with a lot of confidence. And I think they're going to be very accomplished from a young age, like do very well in school and be very talented. And they're going to be freaking proud of themselves for that. And that might also be a result of you really encouraging them, really praising them, and making sure they know that they're amazing. Yes, I think you guys can teach this child a wonderful, wonderful sense of confidence. Also, this is a really sweet, specific message that is coming to my mind, but the Nine of Pentacles also makes me think of appreciation and gratitude. So I just saw this kind of image in my mind's eye of you going out with your child, or like going out with your family on the weekend, and they say things like, oh, I'm so happy we could all get together this weekend, or like, this is the best day ever, I'm having so much fun. Like, they make these little comments to express their gratitude and to express that they're happy. And I think it's just really, really sweet. Like, they say what you're thinking. So for example, let's say you're really busy, or if you have a partner, they're really busy, and it's kind of uncommon that you can have family get-togethers like that and just really spend quality time together. And your little kid will be like, oh, this is nice. Like, I'm glad that we can all be together. I think that they're gonna really love quality time with family. They're gonna love being around friends. Just such a sweetheart and such a ray of sunshine. Oh, I'm just remembering, Opal is the birthstone for October. So we mentioned September. October could also be a significant month. So we could have some like Libra, Virgo, Scorpio babies here, which I think I already mentioned, but it's really cool that that stone matches. This could also be someone who's kind of into fashion, because I'm just thinking of the Nine of Pentacles woman on the Rider-Waite deck, how she is like dressed to the nines and she is feeling herself. So this could be a child who is really into like fashion and clothing, whether that's like dressing up dolls or dressing up themselves. That could be a hobby of theirs. And we are kind of getting into later on in their life, but Nine of Pentacles does make me think of a self-employed person. So, you know, back with that independence and confidence, being hardworking and excelling at what they do. you know, this kid might grow up to be like a business owner or be self-employed, be their own boss or something like that. But let's get into more astrological and zodiac information. So I'm gonna just shuffle and take one card from this deck to see their most dominant energy. So for group number 3, what is the dominant astrological energy of this child? And we have Capricorn. Interesting. So this will definitely be, yeah, this is even more indication to me, like, they're probably going to work for themselves and do a really freaking good job at it. Capricorn is associated with the 10th house or the midheaven, which has to do with our profession, our reputation, our status, our position, like who we are in the world. So I do think that when this child grows up, they will assume a position with a lot of responsibility. It makes sense because they really believe in themselves, and I think that they're a very motivating person to be around. And like we've already spoken about, I think they do really, really well independently, and they also do really, really well with a group. Like they have those people skills. So I think that this is going to be a very successful person in the future. I also think they're going to be very, very funny. The phrase like fluent in sarcasm just came to my mind. This might be a kid who is a little bit sassy, but I don't think that they mean it in a malicious way. They could just like really know how to make fun of you or really know like the perfect timing to say a sarcastic joke. I'm kind of getting like dry humor. And I'm picking up, they might get this from you or they might get this from their other parent, but I think that you're gonna find this kid to be very hilarious. They also might get, their age might get mistaken a lot because I think that they're very like mature and put together. And so there could be moments when they're speaking to other adults and they're like, "How old are you, sweetie?" And they're like, "I'm 7." And the adult's like, "What the fuck?" Like, I thought you were 12 or something, the way that you're talking, because Capricorn has that Saturn energy. You know, it's a very mature kind of energy. I also think, yeah, Saturn is discipline as well. So I think that this child will be very well disciplined. Not like you're going to be overly strict with them or anything, but I think that like if you ask them to do something or you give them responsibilities, like they're very good at, you know, staying on track with that. I think they'd be very good at like helping you out around the house. They might even do chores for you without you having to ask. They just seem very mature like that. But let's also roll the Astro Dice. They could also have a really, really significant relationship or really, really close bond with one of their grandparents. Like a really, really sweet, really special bond. Oh, what else do we have here? So we have Scorpio. That was one of the signs that came out before. We also have 10th house. So that matches with Capricorn. And then we have Jupiter here. So this child could have, they could have Scorpio in the 10th house, which would make them an Aquarius rising. They could also have Jupiter in the 10th house. I'm trying to think of, do I know this off the top of my head when Jupiter is going to be in Scorpio? I think that that would be like in about 8 years from now. So obviously that's not going to resonate for everybody, but around 8-ish years. So that would be like 2030, I think, because this is being filmed in 2022. I will double check that because sometimes I get these wrong, but I'm pretty sure that Jupiter would be in Scorpio around 2030. So, oh God, I hope that's right. Whatever. If that resonates for you around the timing that you were thinking of having children, then that could be a sign of like when this child will be born. If that doesn't align with what you had in mind or what you're wanting for your future, no worries at all, but that could be a little bit of a confirmation for some of you. Or if you already have this child, they could have Jupiter in Scorpio, which I believe was 3 or 4 years ago. Again, I could be a little bit off, but I just wanted to mention that. But with Jupiter and Scorpio here, I think that this child is going to be highly, highly intuitive. Almost like it could kind of be freaky sometimes. I think they're very, very good at reading people, and mixed with this message of maturity, it's kind of like they can read adults in a way that most children can't. And it's almost like they understand adult concepts and adult emotions really, really well. So like, I just had this image of like, maybe one day you're really like frustrated, like you're stressed at work, or maybe you're like, you just had an argument with your partner or something like that. And maybe you're a little bit impatient with your child, or like your temper is a little bit short, and they'll be like, are you okay? Did something happen at work? Or like, are you fighting with other parent? And it's like, you're a kid, you're not supposed to know stuff like that. But I get that with the Scorpio energy. And then again with Jupiter, I think that this child is going to be very generous, very funny, and probably very, very successful in the future. I think that they're very down to earth. So even if they reach a super high level of success, I'm not saying that famous people aren't down to earth, but I feel like they wouldn't want to be like super famous or super in the public eye or anything like that. They would rather kind of lay low and make their money moves and take care of their loved ones. So I'm getting that kind of like grounded and down to earth sort of vibe from them. So let's move on to some oracle cards now. We have various oracle cards from different decks to give us more information about this child. So first we have purity. Always trust in the purity of your heart. Look inside your heart, and within it you will find the answer to your question. Then we have expansion, and this card is related to the throat chakra. I can't remember how I've been putting these. And then we have regeneration. So that could be more Scorpio energy. And then success. I know that there is no greater goal than to love. I love this card so much. So I'm gonna start over here with purity. Very first thing coming to me is honesty, especially next to the throat chakra. I feel like this is a child who will always tell the truth. So for example, I don't know, when they're little, if you're like, child, did you break into the pantry and eat the chocolate? Child, did you make this mess? They'll be like, yeah, that was me, sorry. Or they actually might even come up and tell you without you having to ask them. This purity is making me think of, I have nothing to hide. I would never try to mislead you. I would never try to deceive you. In the same way, I also think that this child will be very open in talking to you and coming to you when something is wrong, letting you know how their life is going. I think that even as they start to get older, into their tween or teenage years, and they come home from school, if you ask them how their day was, I think that they will actually tell you. You won't get just the typical like, fine, what did you do? Not much. They'll actually want to tell you and share about their day. And not only that, but how they're feeling about it, like how they feel about what's going on. I think their heart is always going to be open to you like that. And again, this probably comes from you really infusing them, if that's the right word, infusing them with confidence. So they don't feel like there's anything within them that is shameful or that needs to be hidden. So no matter how they're feeling, no matter what they're going through, even when they make mistakes, even when they do something kind of not cool, because we all do things that are not cool, they'll feel comfortable to open up and tell you. I think you'll have a really nice friendship, not just like a parent-child relationship, but a friendship as well. And then with expansion here, again, having the throat chakra energy here, I do think this is gonna be them like being very open when it comes to communicating. And I also think because they're so mature and very intuitive, they're gonna help with your expansion as well. I think that this child is often gonna be dropping like truth bombs or just speaking very insightful things about life, maybe some perspectives that you hadn't considered before. And I think you have this beautiful mutual relationship where, of course there's that dynamic of like, you're the parent and they're the child, but in an even bigger way, you're like equals in that you are teaching each other and you are sharing with each other. With regeneration here, again, I was getting kind of Scorpio-ish vibes, but it's also making me think of reincarnation. So this child could definitely be a past life connection, like a soul who has been around you for a long time. And I'm also hearing the phrase, like, I'm coming back. This this is a little bit of a dark message. Maybe it will only resonate for a few of you, but maybe there's some of you out there who had like lost a pregnancy or lost a child or something like that, and they're letting you know that this same soul is coming back. Like this soul has chosen you and is committed to being your child, and they're coming back for you. They're coming back to be with you. But I also think that this is talking about resilience. And, you know, this is only group 3, but I've seen some more like sensitive energies in the other readings. I was a really, really sensitive child myself, like very delicate. But I think that this child is going to be quite thick-skinned and quite resilient. Again, it goes back to that confidence. And again, they're so mature, so they could come home from school and be like, oh yeah, that kid was teasing me and calling me names, but you know, he doesn't know any better. He thinks that he's being cool, or like he's just following what all the other kids are doing. So I'm not mad at him, no hard feelings. Like they're just so chill about it. They're so mature about it. Or like, oh, she just said that to me because she's insecure. It's okay. Which like, damn, it's a little bit savage, but they just get it. They understand like any sticks and stones that are thrown at them. It's not a reflection of who they are. They know that they're that person. And I feel like they can get through anything and they can heal from anything. And even when they're older, like when this child has their first love and their first breakup, I think they have such inner strength that no matter what would happen to them, or no matter who would come in and come out of their life, they feel very stable and they feel like they're gonna be okay. They have that really healthy, strong core. And I want to say I'm so proud of them. And that might sound weird because obviously I don't know them. They might not even be on this earth yet. But I still feel proud of them, and I feel proud of you because again, that's like a reflection of how you have raised them. And then with success here, I really don't think that I need to explain this that much because we've already picked up a lot of indications that they would be highly successful. But I really, really love the phrase on here that says there is no greater goal than to love, because again, for them, it's not about making a ton of money. It's not about becoming famous or having the upper hand or anything like that. It's just about realizing their full potential, doing what's best for them, hopefully uplifting and inspiring others in the process, and using what wealth they have to take care of their loved ones. And if this child is a parent one day, I think they're going to be such an amazing parent. Just going back, I'm getting that like grandparent message again, that they have a really special relationship with one of their grandparents. So like one of your parents or like your partner's parents. But they might one day, like they might get a tattoo in memory of that grandparent, like when they're older, or have a special locket or something that they carry around. I think like family and their lineage is going to be really, really important to them. Okay, so I think it is time to move into the tarot. So there are 2 different decks I'm going to use. They're both bear themed and small and really, really cute. We're going to use the Way of the Panda Tarot and the Gummy Bear Tarot. The Way of the Panda Tarot is going to show us what kind of life this child is going to live and more who they're going to become as they grow up. And then with the Gummy Bear Tarot, we are going to finish off with messages from them. So what they want to tell you, what they want or need from you as they grow up, or what they want to thank you for, whether that's like their current self or their future self. But let's start off with our little pandas. I just got this deck and it's so freaking adorable. All right, so group number 3, our Opal child. Whoa! So we have the 10 of Swords. We have the Page of Pentacles. Interesting. Oh wow, this is really interesting. I like this deck. And then we have the wheel. We have the Wheel of Fortune. I was literally just thinking, It's so interesting that both of these cards have a red string, because it's reminding me of the red string of fate, like a symbol for destiny. And then the freaking Wheel of Fortune came out, which is about fate and destiny. Yeah, this deck is really, really cool. So this regeneration is making a lot more sense to me. I think that at some point in this child's journey, there will be something of like a dark night of the soul and then a rebirth. Like they're gonna go through some very, very, I wanna say intense and very significant transformation when it comes to their life path. I am sort of getting the feeling that this would happen in their like college, university years, or like graduate school kind of years. Like I'm seeing somebody who is in their early-ish 20s, but the Ten of Swords represents an ending. And what made me think this is like, well, it does represent an ending, but what made me think of this particular meaning is the shattered mirror, because I'm thinking of this as sort of like an identity crisis. And all of the swords in the panda's back, swords represent our thoughts, they represent our mind. So it's like being defeated by your own thoughts, being exhausted by your own thoughts, aka overthinking. So it's kind of giving me this feeling of like, what am I doing with my life? Is this really what I want to do? This could also be like when they've just entered into the workforce, they've been in a certain job for a while, and they're like, I have no freaking idea if this is what I really want to do, but I don't know what my other options are. And they could go through kind of a low period in their life that could last a year or a couple of years, where even like they're questioning, I thought I was this super confident person and now I don't know anymore. I don't know what's going on. Like they're going through some kind of significant dark period. And as I'm explaining this, I'm hearing that this might actually ring a bell for some of you guys. Like you've been through something similar in your life as well. If you have, I feel like what you're going through now is going to be such an amazing help for your child when they grow up, or for your future child. Like the dark night of the soul that you've gone through, the identity crisis of like, who am I and what am I doing? Everything you've experienced and the wisdom that you gained along the way, you can pass on to them, because I feel like they're going to go through something a little bit similar in their life. I just see someone who's like, they've just finished an education program, or they've been in this job for a while, and like one day they wake up and they don't recognize themselves in this position anymore. The Page of Pentacles made me think that it is probably career related. And it's so interesting that we got that message of them being very successful and being independent. So maybe they're in some kind of like they're an employee, or they're in some kind of office job, and they're just not feeling it anymore, but they don't know, like they don't know what they want to do. I just feel like you're gonna play a really, really important role in helping them through this. And the Page of Pentacles talks about, okay. The Page of Pentacles talks about like a new career endeavor, a new project that has a lot of potential, good news coming in your work and finances. So after this crisis and after this dark night, I feel like they are starting fresh. They're starting a new path in their life. They're starting a new job. They're starting a new project. And it's so interesting that there's bamboo here, because bamboo is like really, really symbolic, because it grows for, I think it's 5 years underground behind the scenes. And then when it shoots up out of the earth, it grows insanely fast. So the idea is like, even when it looks like nothing is happening, all of this preparation is happening behind the scenes. And once that bamboo sprouts, like it's go time, baby. It's shooting up. And I think you're going to help teach them that no matter what they're going through, the universe has a plan for them, and that everything is going to be okay. So even when things look like they're going wrong, even when things look like they're not progressing, even when things look like you're stuck and you're doomed, that bamboo is growing below the earth. The universe always has your back and is always orchestrating for you, is always preparing your blessings for you. So I feel you being this very like supportive and very grounding presence for them throughout this process, and reminding them to allow and reminding them to continue having faith. And that's why it's so cool. We have the red like scarf, the red string of destiny. And also these little feathers make me think of like signs and synchronicities from the universe. So you're helping them to trust in the process. You're helping them to trust in the universe. And with this Wheel of Fortune, like their time is coming. Oh my gosh, I just got so emotional. I got this image of them one day like accepting an award or giving a toast at an event where they're being celebrated for their successes and for their contributions. And I see them like teary-eyed saying like, I want to thank my parent for being there for me when I was at my lowest. Like I couldn't have gotten through this dark night without them. And you know, they instilled in me this will to be a fighter and to believe in myself, and they pulled me out of this dark time. And I can see them getting, you know, choked up when they look back at how you've been there for them. And I already feel like when we get into the other deck, they're probably going to come through to say thank you. Thank you for being there for me. Thank you for raising me in the way you did, for teaching me how to believe in myself, for teaching me how to be myself. And with this Scorpio, with this Scorpio and Jupiter energy and regeneration, this soul could actually be like paying you back for a good deed you could be paying them back for a good deed that they did for you in a past life. Like in a past life, you helped them out greatly. Maybe like they were your parent. Oh my God, I'm not saying this right. Whatever. I'm trying to say maybe in a past life the roles were reversed, and so they helped you in this way, and now you're switching the roles and you're helping them. I'm so sorry, that was so messy when I was trying to explain that, but I hope you understand. It's like paying back a favor from a past life. Yes, so let's look at our little gummy bears now. What else does your future child or your current child's future self want to say to you? So we have, Six of Pentacles. This is a soulmate card for me. So yeah, you definitely have a strong spiritual connection. And Six of Pentacles is like evening out the scales, helping each other out. I feel like you've been in a lot of each other's lifetimes and supported each other in really, really big ways. Like this is probably the millionth time that you're gonna help each other out of some dark place. And honestly, they might even do this for you in this lifetime. Like they might help you out of a dark place. But this is kind of the dynamic that you have with each other throughout your lifetimes. Like you're always there to support each other. You're always there to remind each other that you're the shit and to believe in yourself. And it's like you always want to watch each other succeed. And I think that you guys have a shared spirit guide. So if you guys are familiar with your spirit guides, like your primary spirit guide might also be guiding them, because I think there's someone in the soul world who, you know, helps you guys grow together, who helps you guys to, you know, find each other throughout your incarnations. And this is even more indication that you guys are really equals on a soul level. And I think this is just quite simply thank you. This message is just thank you. Thank you for everything you've done for me, or everything you will do for me. I feel like even if this child is not born yet, they're saying you've already done so much for them, because you not giving up on yourself and committing to yourself through your dark nights and getting out of your struggles is going to set an example for them, and it's going to give you wisdom that could really, really help them out. And the more you work on your own happiness and health, the more they can be happy and healthy as your child. So it's just a huge thank you from them. And then we have two, oh my gosh, the Wheel of Fortune again and the freaking Empress. Oh my gosh. So yeah, it was fate. It was literally fate that this soul was to become your child. It was like written in the stars. I was gonna say written in the book. I don't know if there's some book that keeps track of these things in the soul world, but it was written there that you two would come together just as you have so many times before. The way you find out that this child is coming, or the way you found out that this child is coming, might have been very like serendipitous in some way, or you might have seen a lot of signs and synchronicities that it was going to happen, like that there was going to be a pregnancy or adoption if this is an adopted child. You might have started to get a lot of signs and synchronicities that it was coming before it did, because this is all about like divine orchestration. Or there could be something very significant about like the date that they were born, or the date that you found out they were coming, or something like that. And those are all little hints from spirit, or little hints from your spirit guide, like, yep, this union is coming back around. And then we have the Empress, which I'm honestly just reading as I love you, but it's like, thank you for teaching me that I can be anything and that I can create anything. And thank you for teaching me how to love myself and take care of myself, because that's gonna stay with me forever. And you know, I had that feeling of this person being very emotionally good and like emotionally okay, and not being super attached to anything or anyone, and having very healthy relationships of their own. I almost felt a little bit of like tears welling up there for a moment. It's like, just thank you for instilling all of that in me, and because of that, I can feel so comfortable in this world and so comfortable in this human body. I feel like I know how to manifest my desires. I feel like I know how to speak up and express myself. I feel very safe in this world, and that's because of you. So thank you, and I love you. Oh, that's so sweet. And then we have the Knight of Cups at the bottom of the deck, which is also like, I love you. And I think that they're gonna express that to you a lot, even as they get older, even when they're like a teenager and it's kind of lame to love your parents. I think they're gonna let you know all the time like how much they love you and how much they're grateful for you. What a sweet little baby. So group number 3, these are all the messages I have for you. So I'm gonna end your reading here. Thank you very much for letting me do this reading for you. I hope you have a wonderful day or night whenever you're watching, and I wish you all the best. Please take good care of yourself, stay healthy. Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe if you feel like doing that. I also have a Patreon, so if you guys are interested in seeing even more exclusive pick of cards where you get to choose the topic, that will be linked down below too. And I have a music channel. The song that you guys heard at the very start of this video was an original song, so if you're interested in checking out that one or any of my other songs, that music channel will be linked down below too. I'm sending lots of love to you, your child, your guide here, and all of your spiritual team, and I will see you guys in the next one. Bye-bye! Hi number 4s, so if you guys chose the Peacock Ore, this is going to be your reading all about this particular current or future child of yours. So just before we get into it, I did want to say that I am getting firecracker energy from this kid. Like, this kid is full of beans. This kid is a ball of energy. Maybe it has to do with the Peacock Ore and how bright and colorful it is, but I'm getting the vibe that this kid is very energetic, very funny, could also be kind of loud, but I just wanted to mention that. So the very first card that we are gonna look at here, this is actually a playing card, but this deck is really cute and I just wanted to use it today. And this card is going to show us sort of the core personality of your child, or also how their personality is when they are little. Sort of like the purest form of their personality. So for group number 4, we have the 5 of Clubs, which I'm laughing because this is equivalent to the 5 of Wands in tarot. So yeah, definitely this kid has a whole lot of energy. They could actually be very athletic. The Five of Wands has to do with competition. So I was just thinking of someone who's maybe into sports, or they have that kind of competitive spirit. I do think that this child is going to be quite assertive. And if I'm being honest, they might be a little bit feisty. Like when they're younger, they might have a little bit of an attitude. And I think that they will need a healthy outlet for their pent-up energy and their competitive spirit, and that's why maybe something like sports would be perfect for them. I'm also getting, they could be like, you know, when kids ask why all the time, they could really be a kid that, you know, challenges what they're told and what they have to do. But why is it like that? But why? Which is awesome, because it means that they're capable of thinking for themselves and thinking critically, and, you know, not just accepting the norms and doing what they're told, which I think is going to make them a really like independent and free thinking adult. But of course, when they're a little child and you need to discipline them and you need to teach them things, that, I mean, I don't have children, so I don't know, but that could be something that is a little bit difficult. You know, this might be a child who kind of challenges authority, might kind of struggle to do as they're told from teachers or from you. And yeah, they could have a little bit of an attitude. And I think that's something that might be hard for this child, because the number 5 is about growth and development. I think that what this might be is that their intelligence, or like what they want to do, is beyond the capacity of their little undeveloped human body. You know what I mean? Like maybe they really, really want something or need something, or there's an emotion they want to express, but because they're so little, they don't really understand like how to put that in words, or they don't understand how to, you know, calmly reason that with you. So they just resort to like getting kind of, I guess, angry, or, you know, having this kind of emotional, I don't want to say outburst, but maybe. So that might just be something to be aware of. I think that this is a child that would require a little bit of extra patience and really need to be encouraged. Like, okay, please try to communicate what you need. Like, relax, it's gonna be okay. We just need to know how you're feeling. We need to know what you want. And they need that kind of reassurance, I think, that their needs are gonna be met and that everything is gonna be okay. I really, really hope that their firecracker spirit will not be dimmed, because I think that once they learn how to like hone in on it, and once they learn how to express it in a positive way, they're gonna be such a lovely older kid and such a lovely adult. I think that they're extremely talented. I think that they're extremely intelligent, and I think that they're gonna do amazing things. And so we just need to learn how to like control that fire in a positive way. This is so interesting. This is reminding me a lot of a reading I did a while back about your life purpose. And there was a group that was like this. It's like, you have that fire in you, you have that passion in you, but we don't want to tell you that that fire is wrong or bad, because it's not. It's beautiful. We just have to learn how to listen to it and how to guide it in the right direction. But yeah, I think at least at a very, very young age, this child could be prone to, you know, like they could be the kid that's like, no, 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 and like doesn't want to listen. And I was that kid. Oh my God, I was terrible. From the ages of 2 to 4, I was just like having tantrums all the time. You can ask my mom about it. But yeah, they definitely have a lot of energy in there. So let's take a look at the astrological placements of this child. So the card that I'm gonna pull from this deck is going to represent their most dominant energy in their chart, but we're also going to roll the astro dice to get more information about their zodiac placements. So we have Neptune. So they could have some strong Piscean energy, Pisces placements. They could also have 12th house placements. This is very interesting. I do think that this is an old soul, and I think that they have a very, very vivid inner world. And I feel like sometimes like putting their thoughts and feelings into words is frustrating, or adapting to this physical realm or adapting to this physical body is kind of frustrating for them. This might be a soul who hasn't incarnated in quite some time, or who hasn't been on earth in quite some time. I just feel like they need a while to get used to their body again and to get used to being a human again. And honestly, do we ever fully get used to being a human? I don't know, but adjusting to this earth and adjusting to their new life as a human just might be something that is a little bit difficult. With that being said, another message that I get from Neptune is that this is an incredibly creative person. You have the Peacock Ore as well. This is all about creativity and self-expression. I was leaning more towards sports, and I do think that they could be very, very strong and athletic, but I also think that they're incredibly creatively talented, and the arts could also be a great way for them to express themselves. So like if they're having a hard time articulating what it is that they're feeling when they're little, you could even say like, do you want to draw how you're feeling, or can you show me in some other way? And I think encouraging other forms of expression for them is going to be a really healthy way for them to learn how to like tap into themselves and see what's going on in their inner world and get acquainted with their emotions. But yeah, I feel like their mind is just something else. They might actually be, I'm not exactly sure about this term, but the term indigo child just came to my mind. Like there's something otherworldly about them. There's something ethereal about them. They have an amazing mind. I think they might just get frustrated because they're not understood. Like what they want to express or how they're feeling, it's like it's hard for it to be understood, and they need to find some other ways to express it, or they need to find some other outlets to express it. But with the right support, this is like a creative genius. This is someone who can change the world. This is someone who can do amazing, amazing things. So let's roll the Astro Dice as well and see if there's any other, well, there are other, but let's see what they are. Other significant astrological placements that you should know about. We have Aries. I'm not really surprised to see this. They could be, is this me? Is this me as a child? They could have like an Aries placements in the 12th house or something like that. We also have, this is Uranus. Uranus was just in Aries a few years ago. So for some of you, maybe this is like a child who was already born. And then we also have 5 for the 5th house. This child could have Aries in the 5th house. So they could be a Sagittarius ascendant, or they could have Uranus in the 5th house. But yeah, they're definitely incredibly creative with this 5th house energy here, and with Uranus as well. This is very like innovative, genius kind of energy. It's a little bit unconventional as well. But with this Aries energy, I'm getting the feeling of someone who is a trailblazer, of somebody who is a pioneer. I do think that this child would grow up to do something that is a little bit unconventional. And I also feel that like they are going to be misunderstood, but I think that they're going to come to embrace it as they get older. Like they understand, okay, I'm different. I'm here to create something new. I'm here to do something new. I'm here for the black sheep. I'm here for the underdogs. I feel like they are really, really going to embrace that role as they get older and embrace their uniqueness. But again, it is something that could be a challenge when they're younger, and like they're being expected to fit into all of these boxes and being evaluated by adults who might not understand them. Like, and maybe some of you guys listening to this reading actually relate to that. Like maybe you've gone through something similar as well. But I think that they're going to be kind of a leader for those who are different when they're older, and they may be a voice for people whose voices aren't heard, or a voice for people who aren't generally represented, who aren't typical, who don't fit into the typical boxes. And I think when they get older, they're going to have such a strong confidence. They're going to be like a peacock and show off their, oh, here it is, and show off their beautiful true colors and really like strut their stuff and embrace what they've got. I'm not really getting a feeling of any particular career or profession coming through, so it could definitely be different for everyone. This is a general reading after all, but I just saw 1111 on the camera timer, so they definitely have a lot of divine guidance with them. Seahorses make me think of breaking the norm as well, and it's just for one dumb little reason that male seahorses carry the babies, so it's like, oh, king of breaking gender roles. But they could, you know, do something with like bending gender or bending societal expectations. They're kind of defying like what society expects that someone like them could or couldn't do, or they're opening the door so that they're like busting open a certain field so that more people can enter. Again, this is a really, really dumb example, but you know how there's like stereotype. No, this is a better one. Like there's a stereotype that women wouldn't be like in STEM careers, or they wouldn't be interested in that kind of stuff. Like women wouldn't be engineers, women wouldn't be scientists, or even women in sports. It's like not really like conventional or not really expected. So I feel like whatever they're doing, they're kind of breaking stereotypes. And is the camera moving? Okay, I thought I was going crazy. I kept having to like adjust the cards, but it's because the camera was slowly moving and it was like slowly going off center. I'm sorry, that's a little annoying, but it should be screwed into place now. Let me just rearrange these things. But yeah, I see this kid growing up and kind of giving a metaphorical or literal middle finger to those who maybe like said that they couldn't do what they wanted to do, or discouraged them from doing what they wanted to do. But let's take a look at some oracle cards now. We have various different oracle cards from different decks to give us more information about this child. We have motivation. When spring approaches, the flower fairies urge you to spring into action. If there's something you've been merely thinking about doing, they say get busy and do it. So the spring season might be significant. This child could be born in the spring, or you could find out that this child is coming in the spring season. So that is a very happy time for you. I'm not really surprised that we're seeing this message about like motivation, getting to it, being active. Again, I think that this child is very, very active. I think that they are a go-getter. So like when they want something, they really, really give it their all. We also have impasse. So yes, there is a little bit of a stubborn energy here, but I'm looking at this full moon behind the person. Full moon makes me think of very, very strong emotions. It makes me think of a sensitive nature where emotions are really, really running high. I think if this child does express kind of like a stubborn attitude or difficult attitude, there's usually like a sensitivity behind it, or there's usually a very understandable emotion behind it. It's just, again, that they need to learn how to communicate it. But yes, they could be a little bit stubborn when they are little. We also have go the distance. So there's the athletic energy that I was picking up on before. We have a freaking cheetah. So this could be the kid who's like in gym class, always wins the team sports, or like always comes in first place in what is it called? Like track and field day. They might want to get involved in sports as an extracurricular activity, or be on like the track team at school or something like that. Or they could enjoy watching sports. They could also enjoy gaming, like playing games. That's coming to me too. But I feel like they're very fast and they're very agile. I'm also hearing like fast metabolism. Like, look at this guy, he's ripped too. Like maybe this is a kid who can like eat a lot and always stays like really small and really active and running around. I think that they have an active body as well as an active mind. So it would be good to find, you know, many different things to keep them busy. And then we have empathy. I'm open to seeing both sides of a situation. So I feel like you're both teaching each other how to have empathy for one another, or how to understand one another and put yourself in each other's shoes. I definitely think that's something that this child will need to learn throughout their life, because they have a little bit of that stubborn nature and that assertive nature, which is good. But I think sometimes they need to learn to like not react right away and consider where the other person is coming from. This will be like a big lesson that I think you would need to teach them, that you would need to repeat to them. And at the same time, I think they're going to teach you to be more empathetic as well, rather than just, you know, punishing them or saying you shouldn't act like that. To sort of step back and say, well, what might be the emotion behind this action? Because it's not just like, oh, they're acting out, or oh, they want to be a brat. Like there's some need, there's some desire, there's something behind that that wants to be expressed, there's something that needs an outlet. So you're really, really teaching each other, yeah, like the act of empathizing, the act of having compassion, the act of seeing where the other party is coming from, putting yourself in their position. If I were them, what would I need? How could they be feeling right now? I think them being in your life makes you a more understanding, more intuitive, more empathic person. And it's really like beautiful the way you teach each other. And I think that although there might be some trouble communicating earlier on in their life, because you take that extra effort and because you learn this lesson with them, I feel like when they get older, you're going to have such excellent communication and you're going to know each other so well. You're going to know each other like no other. I feel a really like close, two peas in a pod kind of bond forming with you guys. And also just because they have such an amazing imaginative mind, I feel like they're going to teach you a lot and they're going to help you see the world in a new way. I feel like the world becomes more bright and vivid after this child is in the world. I'm hearing like, I hope you don't mind that I put down in words how wonderful life is. Now you're in the world. Okay, let's get into your tarot before I keep going with that musical number. So we have two different tarot decks that we're going to use today. They are both bear themed and very cute. This is the Way of the Panda Tarot and the Gummy Bear Tarot. In the Way of the Panda, we're going to see who this child will grow up to be and what kind of life they're going to live. And then with the Gummy Bear Tarot, we're going to get some messages from them. So whether that's just something they want to tell you, what they want or need from you moving forward, or something they want to thank you for, which has been coming up a lot in these readings and is very sweet, but we're going to leave it to them. But first, with our little pandas, let's see who they are going to grow up to be and what kind of life they are going to live. So we have the Fool. That's even more Uranus energy. They could have like Uranus in the first house or be an Aquarius rising or something like that. Then we have the Five of Wands and the Queen of Cups. Oh, so double Five of Wands. Yeah, I feel like they're really going to learn how to, I think exalt is the word. They're really going to learn how to refine and make the best of their Five of Wands energy. So, you know, they're going to take that competitive spirit of theirs and channel it into their work and reaching their full potential. And, you know, like, I don't need to compete or compare myself with other people, but I can become a better version of myself. Like, I think sublimating is the word, like channeling it in a positive way. So that competitive spirit becomes ambition. It becomes a thirst to reach their full potential. And their fighting spirit becomes like fighting to protect my loved ones. So again, it's not about like shaming or casting away certain aspects of them, but teaching them how to use it to their best advantage and for the best of everyone else. I know that this card is about fighting and probably these pandas are supposed to be fighting, but I'm imagining it as like a family who's all snuggling together. Like maybe they just playfully all like piled up on top of each other on the bed and they're like play wrestling or something like that. I didn't see this as, it's so cute. Like, I didn't see this as a violent or, you know, negative image at all. The camera's really, really wanting to focus on empathy. Like, there's a big square around this and it won't stop even though I'm holding this card up. It's so interesting when that happens. It's like spirit's like, yo, put your attention over here. But yeah, they're definitely learning how to keep their fire and keep their spunk while still being like a compassionate, empathetic person. I think it's likely that this child would go on to have a family of their own, and they will be an amazing parent. They'll be really, really, really close and really, really, really affectionate with their family. And it's that feeling of like, everything I do is for them. I think that this child will have a strong like mama bear or papa bear or parent bear energy to them, where they're really, really like protective over their loved ones and you better not mess with them. And then with the Fool, I honestly think that when they grow up, the world is their oyster. And again, like, I'm not getting any messages of specific careers, which did kind of come through in other readings. Maybe they're gonna have a ton of different careers throughout their life. Or maybe it's just a general reading and everybody's different. But the Fool makes me think of like infinite possibilities. They can literally do anything they want in this world because of their will and because of their amazing imaginative mind. Even if the beaten path isn't one where they would be successful, you know, like, I want to have this career, but the most common path isn't available to me. They're so imaginative and creative that they'll just find another way to do it. Like, they don't back down in the face of adversity. They just get creative. And that's that Uranus energy. So, you know, they just, oh, I just need to come up with a new idea. I just need to get a little bit creative and then I can do what I want to do. They, you know, if the door's closed, they look for a window, that kind of thing. And my ears are ringing so much, which hasn't happened yet in this reading and actually hasn't happened in a long time. I also feel like, you know, we saw that they were just like full of beans, really like energetic and funny. And I feel like they're not going to lose that even when they get older. So they're going to be just as energetic when they're an adult. They're going to be just as funny and silly when they're an adult. I think that this kid is literally going to make you laugh like for the rest of your life. They might, yeah, because here also the Queen of Cups has a child. So I think they will have a family of their own. Or if they have little siblings or little cousins or pets or something like that, I think they're going to be very, very sweet and very affectionate towards them. And actually, I think that animals and small children really, really love this person. Like, they really, really not graduate. They really, really gravitate towards them because they have a beautiful aura and they have a beautiful energy. And then with the Queen of Cups here, I definitely think that like their personality will mellow out as they age, like just with them becoming mature, but they have such a big heart. They have such a big heart. They might have some like personal planet in retrograde when they're born, like Mercury in retrograde or Venus in retrograde or something like that, because I'm thinking of something that I once heard. If someone is born with Mercury in retrograde, it's like they might struggle with like communication or struggle at school, but actually because of that struggle, they will end up better at it than most people, because they're actually going to put in the effort to review things a million times, go back and check things and put extra practice. So that, you know, compared to someone who never really had a significant issue and never really had to think about it, like they will become better. Or it's also how like sometimes when people study a language as their second language, they actually know the proper grammar better than a native speaker. Because when you're native, you never really had to study it or think about it. So you might actually make mistakes. Whereas someone who it didn't come naturally to them, so they had to study it, they might end up knowing more than you, if that makes sense. So it's almost like throughout this person's life, they've studied more about the skill of communicating and about the skill of understanding others and about the skill of demonstrating compassion and the skill of opening up their heart and saying how they feel, so that even if they struggled with it at a younger age, that is actually what's going to make them that much stronger at it. Or it's like, and I think Jem was just saying this in a reading recently, like when you get a scar, like the skin that grows back there is stronger than before it was wounded. So their struggles are actually making them stronger, are actually making them this, well, they always had a heart of gold, but they're just learning how to really, really bring it out now. They're learning how to really, really extend their compassion and their kindness to the world. And I'm so proud of them. They have such a big heart and such a kind heart. And everyone is going to feel so blessed to know this person and so blessed to have them in their life. And now I'm starting to get emotional, but let's take a look at the gummy bears and see what they have to say. And it looks like the camera's staying put, which is great. All right, so group number 4, the Peacock Ore child. What do they have to say to you? We have the Knight of Wands. Oh, they're saying you can do it. I don't know what that means. Maybe that's a message that you guys need, like right here, right now. And I also hear them saying enough about me. You know, like, oh, we don't need to talk about me anymore. I just want to give you a pep talk right now. I just want to let you know that whatever you're going through in your life right now, you're going to kill it. You're doing amazing. I'm so proud of you. You're doing an amazing job. And I'm so happy that you're going to be my parent. I would never pick another parent. I'm seeing this image. This was like circulating around the internet. I don't remember how long ago it was, but I guess this kid wrote their mom a card for Mother's Day. And you know, it's in like messy little kids' handwriting. And it said something like, "You're the best mom in the world. If I had another mom." If I had another mom, I would punch her in the face and go find you. I'm not condoning that, but it's that same kind of energy. Like, I would not trade you for the world. And if I ended up with another parent, I'd be like, nah, no, I want group 4. I think that they're also, no. The 7 of Pentacles is asking you to be patient. So if this child is already born and maybe you're going through these kind of struggles with them, this could be asking you to be patient with them. Or maybe some of you have been waiting to have this child, waiting to conceive this child. Oh, okay. The message that I was about to say and then I didn't, it had something to do with like, and maybe this is just for some of you, but like meeting the person with whom you would have this child, or like getting together with them, or like, you know, getting married to them or conceiving this child with them. Or it's like there's something that you're waiting on when it comes to a specific person or like the other parent of this child. So they could also be encouraging you to be patient in that regard. Like, it will all come together in the right time. I will come along in the right time. My other parent will come along in the right time. I'm kind of getting the vibe of divine timing with this 7 of Pentacles. But there's also a message of reassurance in here. Like, nothing has gone wrong. Like, your prayers have been received. Your seeds have been planted. It's really, really just a matter of time and a matter for things to line up in the 3D, to line up on this earth. And you know, there's a specific time that I want to come into the world for my life to unfold in a certain way. And I promise it's going to be worth it, but just please bear with me a little longer. Please be patient for me a little longer. But yes, those are all the messages I'm seeing for group number 4. So I'm going to end the reading here. Thank you very, very much for letting me do this reading for you. I hope you have a wonderful day or night whenever you're watching, and I wish you all the best. Please take good care of yourself, stay healthy, Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe if you feel like doing that. I also have a Patreon, so if you guys are interested in seeing even more exclusive pick a cards where you get to choose the topic, that will be linked down below too. And I have a music channel. The song that you guys heard at the very start of this video was an original song, so if you're interested in checking that one out or any of my other songs, the music channel will be linked down below too. I am sending so much love to you, your child, and your spiritual teams, and I will see you guys in the next one. Bye bye! Hi number fives, so if you guys chose the Cobalto Calcite, this is going to be your reading. I was just thinking about how weird it is to say hi number fives because there's usually not more than 4 groups. And then I got in my head and I started messing up my words. So group number 5, we are going to start off with this card here. This is actually a playing card, but it's going to tell us a little bit about the core personality of this particular current or future child of yours that we are looking at right now. And we're also going to see what they're like when they are little. So like the earliest or purest form of their personality that is coming out. So for you guys, group number 5, we have the King of Diamonds, and this would be equivalent to the King of Pentacles in tarot. So one thing that's coming to my mind with this card is that this child might be an older sibling, because I'm thinking of the king as like someone who is older, someone who takes care of others. I don't know if you guys were drawn to any of the other groups or if you already have this child, if they are an older sibling, but you may actually be having several children and this one is the oldest, because I have this image of them. And I also have an image of them like having a significant age gap. So they might have a younger sibling who is like, 5 years younger than them, for example. So, they're in elementary school and their little sibling is a baby. And so, they're very nurturing towards them and, helping to take care of them. Or they might have a lot of cousins or something like that who are significantly younger than them. But there's this feeling of them being like older. They could also have a birthday that makes them the oldest in their class. I think that that's going to be different depending on where you are in the world, because school years start at different times of the year in different countries, and maybe they class you by age in a different way, but they could be like one of the oldest in their class as well. Other specific messages that are coming to me is I think that this child is going to be a bookworm. They really like reading or learning or both. And specifically, I feel like they might be into reading like long novels. Obviously, I don't know what it's going to be in this kid's childhood, but for me, I feel like a lot of kids would read Harry Potter novels that are like 600 pages long, and we would just be so into them. It'll probably be something else for them, or they might read the older novels, but I can see them, getting lost in a really long book. And I also think that they will like nature and going outside. That's another specific message that's coming to me. So, where some people might like to, stay in and play games or like be on their devices, I feel like they want to go outside. They want to get that fresh air. And there's a very like wholesome vibe coming from them. I'm not really sure how else to explain it. Like a very wholesome and a very cozy vibe coming from them. I think that they're going to be a very, very chill child. So even like when they're a little baby, I feel like they're not going to cry that much. They're not going to be very fussy. Like if you have to go out and do errands, they will just sleep the whole time. I feel like they will eat anything. And I don't know, I don't really like the idea of calling a child easy or difficult, but I guess I could say easy in the sense of like they're quite breezy. They're a quite laid back baby. This is the kind of vibe that I'm getting from them. I also think that they're going to be very responsible. So, as they get older and they have tasks that they need to complete, whether that's like chores or homework, I think that they're going to be very responsible with them. And again, like if they are an older sibling, I could see them like helping out their younger siblings, helping with the homework and really helping to take care of them and things like that. So let's take a look at this astrology deck. I will say This could be an earth sign, Taurus, Virgo, Capricorn, but we are going to shuffle this deck and see what the dominant astrological energy is for this child. So for our Cobalto Calcite child, we have the sun. So it could be saying like sun in Taurus, sun in Virgo, sun in Capricorn, but this could also be representing Leo energy. This is telling me that this kid is really like a ray of sunshine. I think that their baseline is happy, you know? Their baseline isn't like neutral or grumpy or moody. It's like they're just happy all the time. When they're a little baby, they could laugh at everything and think everything is entertaining. I feel like they're gonna have a smile or a laughter that just like melts your heart, and maybe some like chubby cheeks, because I'm just looking at this big round face of the sun with rosy cheeks. They could have a lot of hair as well, because like Leo makes me think of a lion's mane, and this kind of looks like hair. They could have like a lot of hair, or kind of like curly-ish big hair. But yeah, I think that they just like light up the hearts of everyone around them. I can see you guys like taking them out when they're a baby and they're in their little stroller, and everyone around is just melting. Like you will catch strangers staring at your kid like, and you know, like just melting when they are smiling, when they are laughing. I think they get a lot of attention, bright, cheerful. I think they're gonna have a great sense of humor as well. And the word ham is coming to my mind. Like they're a little bit of a ham. So when I say that they're chill, doesn't necessarily mean that they're quiet. Like I think they're quite easygoing, but you know, they could be a little bit of a ham. They could be a little bit dramatic. When they're little, they might like to you know, like do plays for you. I don't know if that was just me, but like when I was little, like with my sister and my friends, we were always like using the household's video camera to make like TV shows and inventing characters and putting on plays. They might really like to assume the roles of different characters and like put on a show, or they might be like, we're doing a concert, and you know, they go on their stage, which is really just like the porch or something. You know, they like to entertain, they like to perform. We spoke about them enjoying reading. Maybe they like writing and creating things of their own as well, because the sun energy is very, very creative. But let's roll the astro dice as well and see. So sun is like the dominant energy, but let's see what other placements there are. So this is the south node, and then we have 4, which represents the 4th house, and then we have Pisces. So, they could have like south node in Pisces, north node in Virgo. I'm actually not sure what year that would be. So I'm gonna Google that, I think. When I finish filming this, I'll see when the north node is shifting to Virgo, because that could be, you know, an indication of roughly when this child would be born or when they were born. Or they could have the sign of Pisces in the 4th house, so they could be a Sag rising, or they could have a Pisces moon as well. But with this 4 here, I think that this is someone who's going to be really, really family oriented from a very young age. So like we mentioned before, they show a lot of affection for their siblings, for their relatives, pets. If you have them, I think that they will be really, really sweet with them as well. I think that when they're younger, they could be not clingy, but they could need a lot of affection. This could be a child who wants a lot of affection. They could want a lot of praise as well. Like they need words of affirmation, or they need like that extra bit of validation, that extra bit of like being lit up. They could have a Leo moon as well. And yeah, with this Pisces energy here, I think that they're kind of like a sensitive soul or a romantic soul. And I think that they're going to be very, very creative. There's been a lot of creative energy throughout the readings today, but I think that they could be really, really interested in like fantasy or interested in things that are not of this world. So for example, they could be really into fairies or mermaids, or they could even be spiritual or get into spiritual concepts from a young age. They could also be into, like if I extend it a little bit more, they could be really into like science fiction or something like that, or even Harry Potter, because that's fantasy as well. Like they could be really into the idea of magical creatures, magical beings, and things like that, because I think they just have a really, really bright imagination. And if they read a lot, then they're just going to be full of ideas. And I feel like they could really enjoy creating different characters or creating different worlds. I feel like they could be an amazing actor when they get older, or an amazing performer as well. With the South Node here, I think that one thing that they might need help with is stepping outside of their comfort zone. Maybe that's like when they get older, when it comes to trying new things, when it comes to doing things that, you know, that scare them, that are new, with being spontaneous, they might need a little bit of help with that. Because with the 4th house here, this can be like sort of a homebody type of energy as well. And I wonder if they truly know like just how brightly they shine. You know, this could be someone where like when they're really young, they're super expressive and they're, you know, super living it up and showing off. But then something happens along the way as they get older. They start to retreat a little bit more. They start to be a little bit more humble, a little bit more quiet. And we want to keep their light shining brightly, and we want to keep them like getting out there into the world. So I think that's something that they might need help with as they get older. But that concludes like our initial little energy check. So let's move into some oracle cards now. I have various oracle cards from different decks, which will give us more information about this lovely child, our Cobalto Calcite child. So first we have healing. This is reminding me of SpongeBob when he's like, imagination, and the rainbow comes out. Now is a time for you to give or receive healing. Everyone has a natural ability to heal others. Yes, even you. We also have despondence, and this would be related to the 3rd eye chakra. Then to be fair, so they could have some Libra placements as well with these scales here. And then discipline. I can accomplish what I set my mind to, and now my ears are ringing again. They were ringing in group 4 and now they're ringing again. So with this healing energy, the first thing that came to my mind is that if you are going to be carrying this child, or if your partner is going to be carrying this child, I feel like there will be a really, really healthy pregnancy. Like you're actually going to feel really good. Like let's say this is you who's carrying the child. You would feel so good. You would have clear skin. Your hair will be healthy. Your mood will be lifted. I feel like you're not going to experience most of the like pains or discomforts or mood issues that can come with pregnancy. I think it's going to be a very, very wonderful experience. And I also think that just the presence of this child in your life is going to be really, really healing. I know that there's a lot of things about like pregnancy and childbirth and raising children that can be quite stressful and that can take quite a toll. But I just feel this ease and this peace and health. That's what I was trying to say. This peace and this healthy energy surrounding you as you move into this chapter of your life. I think just being close to this child, getting to hold them in your arms, it's gonna be a healing experience like you have never felt before. And I do think that this child has naturally healing abilities as well. We mentioned about a lot of people feeling drawn to them. A lot of people, you know, can't take their eyes off of them. It's definitely because they're adorable, which we've established. They have a beautiful smile and cute little chubby cheeks. But I also think it's just something about their aura. With this Pisces energy here, it makes me think of something that is kind of not of this world or like spiritual in nature. So I think that your child has a beautiful healing and soothing aura. Again, if they have younger siblings, like let's say the younger sibling cries a lot or is fussy a lot. And then when this child picks them up, they just stop crying. They have this kind of vibe to them. They just immediately calm you down. They just immediately soothe you. They could have a really, really beautiful voice as well. Beautiful talking voice, singing voice, beautiful laughter. And this is an energy that they're going to keep like through into their adulthood. This very soothing presence. They could do something with healing, whether that's like spiritual healing, physical healing, emotional healing. They could have a career in that sort of field. Also, this looks a lot like Elsa. So maybe they like Frozen or they like Elsa or something like that, but I just had to mention that. With despondence here, so again, there's like pregnancy being shown here where the person has the world in their stomach. You could actually, again, if it's you who is going to be carrying this child, or even if it's someone else, I feel like leading up to this child's birth, you might start to have some really weird psychic experiences because this is related to the third eye. So for example, you could start to have like really weird, vivid dreams, or really, really, distinct gut feelings, like premonition that something is going to happen, and then it does happen. And I'm also looking at this person who's kind of like staring at the pregnant belly and frowning, and there's a planet Earth. I feel like maybe Earth was not this child's first choice, because I'm thinking of this as like the higher self of your child who is seeing themselves in the womb, and it's like, Earth? Okay. Of course, it is their choice to go to Earth. Like, you cannot force someone to go to Earth against their free will. But I feel like maybe their spirit guides were kind of suggesting it to them, and maybe they had a little bit of resistance at first, but then they were like, you know what? I think Earth is going to be the best place for me. I think it's going to help me to grow a lot. But maybe they had a little bit of resistance to that idea at first. I just wanted to mention, like, I think these are irises actually, but they reminded me of violets at first. So violet might be a significant name. I was also thinking of like, I think Marisol is a name because of like soul here, or like Daisy or something like that. I don't even know if those are daisies, or like some name that is associated with flowers might be significant, even if it's not in the English language, of course. There might be names in other languages that are associated with flowers, but that could be significant as well. I'm also thinking of ivy as well. But yes, here with To Be Fair, this could be indicative of Libra placements. I also think that this speaks to like the laid back nature of this child, as well as the compassionate nature. I think that, like, I'm taking this quite literally to say that they're very fair and they're very good at compromising. They may need to be reminded sometimes that they deserve to shine their light too, and that what they want matters just as much as others. And I feel like that could be an older sibling thing. I am not an older sibling, but I could imagine, you know, at first it's just you and you're like the light of your parents' life, and then other siblings come along and you have to be more responsible and take care of them, and now they're the baby who's getting showered with attention. So they could kind of take on this role of like, you know, I gotta be a provider, I gotta be a protector, I gotta be responsible. And I think sometimes they just need to be reminded, like, you're still my little baby. You still get showered with affection. You're still my sweet baby treasure. Like, I just feel it's like they still want to be babied. They want that affection. They want that praise. They want that lovey-doveyness to be showered on them. And then finally we have discipline. I think this is speaking to them being very responsible. And I love this phrase, I can accomplish what I set my mind to, because this probably means that's a truth that you're really, really going to teach them, that you're really, really going to instill in them, and they will know that they can do whatever it is that they want, as long as they're brave enough. Because again, I felt with the South Node, they might need like some push and some encouragement to step out of their comfort zone. But this is what I'm seeing so far. So we're going to move into the tarot part of this reading now. So we're going to use these two different decks. This is the Way of the Panda Tarot and the Gummy Bear Tarot. In the Way of the Panda, we're going to see who this child will grow up to be and what kind of life they're going to live. And then with the Gummy Bear Tarot, we're going to see what they want to say to you. So that part of the reading, it could be just plain and simple message for you. It could be sort of a request for you, something that they want or need from you as they grow up, or it could be a thank you. We've been getting a lot of thank yous in this section of the reading, like your child's higher self or their future self coming forward to say like, thank you so much for raising me in this way. There's been a lot of that, which has been really, really sweet. But let's see what we have for group number 5. So we have the Ace of Swords. Crows might be significant. We were talking about like psychic experiences, signs and synchronicities leading up to their birth or their conception. You might start to see crows. Crows could be this child's protector or like their spirit animal. We have the Four of Swords. This is also giving me homebody energy like we spoke about before. And let's get one more. How many is that? No, that's too many. I'll take the Emperor because that's the one that fell out face up. But when a bunch of cards like that fall out, it does give me the feeling of, if I'm channeling a certain person or a certain energy, it gives me the feeling that there's a lot they want to say to you. So maybe I'll pull an extra card when we do the messages from them part of the reading. I will give them an extra card because it seems like they want to talk to you a lot, or maybe they are talking to you a lot. If this child is not born yet, their higher self could be really trying to get your attention recently, or talking to you a lot, or showing up in your dreams a lot recently. Or if you see crows, that could be like their higher self saying hi to you. But yeah, with this Four of Swords energy here, I do feel like they're still kind of going to stay in their cozy, wholesome, homebody kind of energy. There's still going to be a bookworm. We can see that book at the top. And I think that this panda is writing, because I think that he's holding a quill. So they might end up in a career that has something to do with writing, whether, oh, I just saw 2222 as well. So they might send you that number to communicate with you. But they could write books, they could write news articles, they could write scripts. Like there's so many different things, obviously. I also heard like translator. They could do something like that as well. And they might wear glasses too. But I feel like that's their divine gift. Like writing and communication is their divine gift. And with the Ace of Swords as well, which is about like a direct communication. I think they're gonna find a way to really like rock both aspects of their personality. So to be like the performer, the entertainer, the expressive, confident person, but also to stay in their cozy little home. So for example, they could be, yeah, like a writer. They're distributing their amazing ideas out to the world, but from the comfort of their home or from the comfort of where they want to be. I think that I am getting the feeling that they would become well known in the future, although it might just be in a certain niche or in a certain community. But the Ace of Swords also makes me think of like a thought leader, I think is the way to say it. Someone who has bright, new, innovative ideas and who kind of influences the way people think. So they could be writing about topics that haven't really been talked about that much, or that haven't been invented yet is also coming to me, because you know this could be like decades down the road when they're more grown, and then there's all, you know, different issues to talk about, different genres in the future. So it could be topics that don't even exist yet, or you know, things that we haven't really explored yet. But they could also, like, they could write a lot of opinion pieces or write articles where they're exploring more like social issues or political issues or something like that. I feel like they could be in journalism or something like that. I think they're highly educated and they're very well spoken, and they really get to the point with communicating their ideas. And with this, to be fair, I think that rather than like pushing, this is the way I think and you should think like that too, they're really good at just like presenting the facts. And like the facts speak for themselves. So I'm going to give you the facts, and you can come to your own conclusions. But I think because they have a very, I think unbiased is a word. They have a very unbiased approach. They have a very neutral approach. And I think that this makes them very respected. And for them to be a thought leader, I think is the term I use. I don't know if that's even a real term. For them being a leader in thought, it's not about like forcing their thoughts on other people or forcing their views on other people, but it's about encouraging people to come to their own conclusions, or presenting people with the information that they need to come to their own conclusions. But in general, I think that they do have very like sound and reasonable opinions, and I do think that a lot of people would think like them. And oh yeah, that's actually a really good point. I never considered that. You know, so anybody who has like biases or really strong beliefs that are not really based in like an educated assessment, I think that they would have a way of like helping people see the truth or helping people to see the light. That's kind of the vibe. So people who have like prejudices or biases, or who just aren't really educated enough to form an opinion, I think that your child would actually really play a role in like helping to educate people and helping people to see where they really stand. And that's something that's really, really fulfilling to them. With the Emperor here, did we already? No, there was Leo energy, there was Pisces energy, there was Cancer energy, and then there's also a little bit of Aries here. And then there was Earth sign energy as well. So there's a lot going on here, but Aries energy could be significant, or this could actually be their partner. They could be like with an Emperor, they could be with an Aries person. But it's interesting because both the King of Pentacles and the Emperor make me think of like a protector or a provider. So I think that's just like an instinct that they have within them, that they want to protect their loved ones and they want to provide for their loved ones. I think that wherever they settle down, it will be kind of close by to where you are. So even as they get older and get independent and do their own thing, I think that you'll still see them very frequently. Like maybe they'll, you know, come for dinner once a week or something like that. And I think that they will maintain a very, very close relationship with you. And I think you've just done such an amazing job of like teaching your child to be independent and have their own life, but also maintaining a really, really close bond with them. It's like beautiful. It's like, I think that this is like the ideal dynamic, but of course that's just my personal opinion. But okay, yeah, we're gonna move into the messages, and I will keep my promise and take an extra card. So for most of the groups, I've been taking 2 cards here, but for you guys, I will take 3 because I think there's just a little bit extra that they would like to say to you. So group number 5. Whoa! And there she goes again. Okay, we have 4. The number I've been doing is 2, and then I said we're gonna take an extra one, but they said no, 2 extra. So we have the King of Cups, Temperance. So now there's Sagittarius energy as well, and water sign energy as well, kind of all over the map now. Then there's 7 of Swords and the 9 of Pentacles. So, okay, I'm just gonna. All right. I think they're coming through to, and this is not really so much about them as just like a message for you or some advice for you or some encouragement for you. So I think that this is their higher self coming through. They want you to follow your heart, and they want you to listen to your intuition more. This is like a very strong message of confirmation for you guys. I think that on your spiritual journey, you guys have been trying to keep this balance where you are listening to your intuition, but also you want to stay realistic, but also you want to stay practical. That's the temperance energy here. This is about being grounded, having balance, doing things in moderation. It's almost like you guys, yeah, it's like you're dipping your toe in your spirituality. You see how the little bear is dipping his toe? You're dipping your toe in your spirituality, or you're dipping your toe in your spiritual journey, but you're telling yourself, I'm not going to get in over my head. Like, I don't want to become too delusional. I don't want to become too crazy. I don't want to become too woo-woo. And I do think it's important to have balance between spirituality and practicality, but you can be more spiritual and also be more practical. They don't take away from each other. So maybe the way you guys are unconsciously or consciously seeing it right now, it's like the more spiritual I become, the less logical I will become. Or the deeper I move into this spiritual journey and believing the signs and believing my intuition, that means I have to sacrifice some of my logical side, or I need to shut out some of my logical side. And it's not like that. And I think you guys are like afraid of losing the logical or critical side of yourself. So you're like staying skeptical in a way that is not genuine. It's like forced skepticalness because you feel like you need to protect your logicalness. Like you don't want to come off as crazy. You don't want to come off as delusional. But yeah, it's like skepticism. That's the proper word, not skepticalness. It's like forced skepticism. And with the Seven of Swords here, I feel like it's a little bit like not genuine. Like your heart really wants to believe more. Your heart really wants to go deeper into your spirituality. Maybe you're concerned with like how you would be perceived by some people on the outside. Because I've heard of Seven of Swords being interpreted as like people are looking at you and you know, you have to put on this kind of persona. I just think they're saying you can listen to your intuition way more and you can go way deeper into your spiritual journey. And maybe that's something that will help you to get closer to them, because we saw that they've been trying to talk to you. And like they're saying we've been trying to talk to you. So it's maybe more than one member of your spiritual team. It could be spirit guides. It could be the higher self of a partner, the higher self of their other parent or something like that. But you can lean into it more. I think that's like the message from them. You can lean into this a little bit more. You can lean into this Piscean energy, not of this world energy. Even this King of Cups has the fish around his neck, like right over his heart. And okay, there we go. There we go. Now it's focusing. But yeah, this was very much a message for you, I think, rather than, you know, talking more about themselves. And I think this is actually something they really wanted to tell you. And I think they've already been with you a lot and already been trying to communicate with you a lot. With the Nine of Pentacles, I'm hearing like, don't sweat it. Don't sweat it. Don't stress so much. Enjoy your life. Because the Nine of Pentacles for me is like an unbothered baddie who is living her best life. So maybe you're thinking about this too much. Like, just enjoy the feelings, enjoy the signs, and enjoy your life on earth too. Enjoy the practical side of you too. It's a balance that will come naturally to you, and that doesn't need to be thought about so much, I think. And then I also can't help but notice the little bird in this Nine of Pentacles, and I just saw 33, and I think I saw 22 as well in this group. Did I? Or maybe that was another group, but yeah, feel free to claim both of those. I can't help but think like birds are significant. Like they use birds to get your attention, or it's like a sign that they're around. There's even an owl on this person's freaking head, which I just noticed. So yeah, birds are significant in some way. But group number 5, these are all the messages I have for you. So I'm going to end the reading here. Thank you very, very much for letting me do this reading for you. I hope you have a wonderful day or night whenever you're watching, and I wish you all the best. Please take good care of yourself, stay healthy. Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe if you feel like doing that. I also have a Patreon, so if you guys are interested in seeing even more exclusive pick-a cards where you get to choose a topic, that will be linked down below too. And I have a music channel. The song that you guys heard at the very start of this video was an original song. So if you're interested in checking out that one or any of my other songs, the music channel will be linked below as well. I'm sending so much love to you, your child, and to your whole spiritual team, and I will see you guys in the next one. Bye-bye! Hi, number sixes. So if you guys chose the Howlite, this is going to be a reading all about this particular current or future child of yours. We are going to start off this reading by looking at this card here. This is actually a playing card, but this is going to tell us about the core personality of this child, and also how they're going to be when they're little. So, you know, the earliest or purest form of their personality. So for group number 6, we have the Two of Hearts. This is equivalent to the Two of Cups in tarot, which is so freaking sweet. As you guys might know, the Two of Cups is a card that talks about high-level soulmates. So I definitely think that this child is a soulmate of yours and that you share a really special soul bond with them. Okay, this is definitely not going to be for everybody, but with this Two of Cups here, I'm kind of getting like twins vibes. So you might actually have twins, or you might have 2 children who are very, very close to each other in age, or just share a really, really close bond. I don't know if you guys were drawn to any other readings in this video, but there's like a strong indicator here that like you would have 2 children, or you might even have twins. So if there was another stone that you guys were drawn to, you might want to watch that one as well, so you can know about both of the children coming through here. But in terms of how this child is, in terms of their personality, the Two of Cups talks about like mirroring and reflection and things of that nature. There's a couple different ways that I can interpret this. One is that this child might be really, really similar to you. They might look a lot like you, like they're a spitting image of you, or you guys might have a very similar personality, similar temper, similar mannerisms. They might do, as a baby, they might do a lot of the stuff that you did when you were a baby. So, for example, if you hated apples as a baby, then they might hate apples as a baby. Or if you could only sleep when you were listening to white noise, then they can only sleep when they're listening to white noise. Or, you know, those little quirks, those little things, what would you call them? Habits, preferences. They might be very, very similar. I just have this image of you like maybe talking to your parent and saying like, oh yeah, they're doing good, but they need this very specific thing, or they only like this very specific thing. And then your parent laughing and being like, oh yeah, you were like that as a baby too. So you guys could be very, very similar to each other. But another interpretation of this reflecting kind of thing is that they might have that personality where they really like absorb the energy of those around them, or take on the energy of those around them. I'm getting like Libra or Libra rising kind of energy, or like Gemini rising kind of energy from them. Although the Two of Cups is technically associated with Cancer. They could be like a Cancer with Gemini placements, or vice versa. But yeah, they could be the type of person, like if they're around someone who's really loud and boisterous, then they become really loud and boisterous. If they're around someone who's very mellow and quiet, they become mellow and quiet. I guess you could say like an adaptable personality, or a chameleon sort of personality. This child might be highly empathic as well, and I think they will need to learn how to protect their energy and how to distinguish their energy from the energy of others around them. And if you also resonated with the interpretation of you guys being very similar, maybe you're an empath as well, or maybe you're like this as well. So they might need to be, it's a beautiful gift to have, but it definitely needs some support and learning how to manage it. But I do think that they will have more of an extroverted personality, and they will really like to be around people. Like they work well with others, they work well in a team, they want more connection as opposed to like being on their own and doing their own thing. But let's look at their astrological placements now. So I'm gonna get one card from this deck to see like their dominant zodiac placement, and then we'll also roll the astro dice for some more details. So for group number 6, we have Mars as their dominant energy. So this could be Aries energy or Scorpio energy. So this is a highly driven person. They're going to be very, very hardworking. They will probably be, I don't know, the way it came to me was like at the top of their class. I don't know if it's necessarily like they're an overachiever or something like that, but I think they're very, very motivated when they really want to do something. They're very ambitious. They could get a little bit competitive at times as well, whether that's like academically or physically in sports or something like that. If they have a sibling who's kind of close to them, they could be kind of competitive with them sometimes, or have a little bit of like sibling rivalry. But I also think that this person is, or this child is, an incredible motivator. I'm thinking of that lovely Mars energy that like makes people enthusiastic, makes people motivated, brings out the fire in people, brings out the passion in people. This could be a child who has something that they're really, really passionate about, and when they set their mind to it and when they get their hands on it, like nothing can stop them. So for example, if they get really into, I don't know, like insects. I don't know why that's coming to my mind, but let's say they're really into insects, then they will study every freaking insect and they will know everything about that insect. Oh my god, I saw this, it was this little girl who had a YouTube channel about bugs, and first of all, she's so freaking brave. Like, she would just pick up these huge creepy looking bugs and be like, oh, look at that cute little guy, and she was so knowledgeable. I was so impressed. So it's like, when they like something, when they're passionate about something, they will just go for it. I know that was a weird example, but it could be a sport, a physical activity. It could be a language. It could be, yeah, like a certain animal that they're really into. It could be like trains or cars or nature or something like that. But I feel like they're gonna have like a thing, you know, like that's their thing. You know what I mean? Let's roll the astro dice now and see what else. I feel like it also might be hard getting this kid to sleep sometimes, because I just feel like it's like they're very active, or they have a very active mind. So we have number 5 coming, or okay, I'll take both of them. It said number 5 and then it rolled over and now it says number 9. So 5th and the 9th house, we also have Leo energy and more Mars energy. So there's a pretty strong masculine energy coming through here. It doesn't mean that this child has to be male, but there is like a strong masculine kind of energy, passionate, go-getter, really fights for what they want. I think this person has no problem. Like, I don't think this is a shy child at all. I think they're pretty good at like being assertive. They're pretty good at socializing and being a people person. I'm also hearing that they're very good at getting what they want. So they could be very good at like persuading people, or very good at like, maybe they have really good puppy dog eyes or something like that. Like, please, can I go there? Please, can I do this? Please, can I watch that movie, or can I eat that? There's something about them that I think is quite persuasive, and like you can't resist them. Maybe they're just very, very charming, because we had this Leo energy, we had the 5th house energy as well before it rolled over. But with the 9th house here and Mars, this is also making me think like they're going to be really passionate about educating themselves in something. So sort of going back to that previous example, I think there's something that they're just going to fall in love with and become like a sponge, and they want to know everything about it. And I actually wouldn't be surprised if, well, they might grow out of it, but I was going to say I wouldn't be surprised if moving into their adult life, they actually pursue a career that is related to that thing that they were obsessed with, or like related to that knowledge that they obtained there. Some of you guys, because the 9th house has to do with foreigners, some of you guys might be like expats, or you might, like, their other parent might have a different background than you or something like that, because they could grow up in an environment where they are kind of like a foreigner, quote unquote. So like, let's say you guys live somewhere in Europe and then you move somewhere in Asia, and then you have your child there. So like, they're from a different background as all of their classmates, or maybe they moved when they were little, so then they didn't like speak the language when they were in kindergarten, and like maybe they had to kind of adapt. And actually, maybe that's why they develop this personality of reflecting other people and matching other people's energy. Because it's like, if I'm moving around or if I'm in an unfamiliar environment, this is like the quickest way to make friends, or the quickest way to be accepted into various different groups. Maybe that mirroring thing is like a skill that they developed. But I feel like from a young age, they're going to have experience with a lot of different cultures, a lot of different walks of life, people from different backgrounds. And that's something that might be a struggle when they're younger, because it's like they just want to find a place to fit in. But I feel like when they're older, they're going to be really, really grateful that they had that experience, because they're going to have a much broader view of the world when they're older. They're going to have a much more open mind and be able to deal with a lot of different ideas and get along with a lot of different people. And I think that they'll be really, really grateful for that experience, rather than, you know, having like grown up in a bubble or something like that. But yes, this is the vibe that I'm seeing initially. So let's move on to some oracle cards. We have oracle cards from various different decks to get more information about this lovely child. So look, inner child. And it's funny because we have Leo, which is about children or the inner child. The 5th house we had before, which is about children or the inner child. So I think there's definitely a very playful energy with this child. And funnily, there's also 2 children on this card as well. So a lot of indications of you having 2 children. The fairies of playfulness remind you to make time to embrace your inner child. Playing keeps us young at heart. Do something silly and fun, but stay safe. So actually, the presence of this child in your life might remind you to get back in touch with your inner child, might allow you to do things that are very, very fun, but that I guess normally grown-ups wouldn't do, because, you know, we all grow up and get boring and we have our responsibilities. And I think having them in your life, like, it reminds you to be a kid again. It reminds you that you're still a kid at heart and you can still have fun. We have renewal. This is related to the root chakra. One thing I want to say, if you guys are carrying this child yourself, like if you are going to be pregnant with this child, I feel like this renewal card is saying that you will like bounce back, just meaning that your regular energy levels and the state of your body will go back to normal quickly. I'm not necessarily talking about like what your body looks like or those kind of more superficial things, although feel free to claim that message if that's something you would like and something that you care about. But I feel like your health and vitality and your physical and mental state will recover very smoothly and very quickly. I'm also really drawn to these red flowers. Red flowers might be a significant symbol for you guys. I'm not really familiar with flowers, but I think hibiscuses are red, or like poppies are red. Roses, obviously, that's like the most no-brainer one. And there's red flowers on the Mars card as well. So those might be significant, or you might see them. Are these poppies? You might see them a lot, like before this child is born, before they come into your life. Another thing that's coming through with this child might have a hard time getting to sleep, but I feel like once they do get to sleep, they could be out for hours. So for example, when they're a baby, they might be kind of fussy when you're putting them down to sleep, but then once they finally go to bed, they could be out for like, I don't know, 10 hours, 12 hours. We have serendipity. So, and there's been a lot of this throughout the readings, which I'm not surprised, because if you're watching these kind of videos, you're probably tapped into the signs and synchronicities around you. But yeah, you might get a lot of those. when this child is getting ready to enter your life, or your child might be trying to communicate with you. And then we have balance. I bring a state of perfect harmony into my world, and I do so without judgment. So I feel like this child is going to be so open-minded, adaptable, like we spoke about before, understanding of all different types of people. And I think their greatest wish is just to have connections in their life and to have harmony in their life. They could also be kind of romantic. Maybe that's more like when they get older. But I think they just really crave, like, they're definitely a lover in this world. They're a lover. They want to experience real love. They want to experience real connection. And they want to find their home. They just want to find their state of peace. So even though there's Mars energy here, I'm not really seeing it as like the, you know, the confrontational or kind of, I guess I could say kind of abrasive side of Mars that you sometimes see. I think it's more about the drive of Mars and the passion of Mars and like the zest for life of Mars, because I actually think they're quite like mellow and peaceful. They want to keep the peace. Let's move into your tarot now and see what else we can find out. So there are two different decks that we're going to use. They're both really, really cute. And as you can see, they're mini sized. This is the Way of the Panda Tarot, and this is the Gummy Bear Tarot. So with the Way of the Panda Tarot, we're going to see who this child will grow up to become and what kind of life they will live. And then with the Gummy Bear Tarot, we're going to see what messages they have for you. So in that part of the reading, it could be like just plain and simple what they want to say to you. It could be a request that they have for you, or some advice when it comes to raising them. Or one thing that's been happening a lot throughout these groups is like a nice thank you message, which has been really sweet. Like, thank you for being there for me. Thank you for raising me in this way. Thank you for allowing me to do this and teaching me that. And I've gotten kind of emotional during those parts, but we'll leave it up to them what they'd like to say to you. All right, I can't decide where I want to put things. I feel like I'm like fidgeting and moving things a lot with this group, but okay. Group number 6, our Howlite group. Howlite makes me think of Howl's Moving Castle. What kind of person will they grow up to be? What kind of life will this child have? We have the King of Pentacles. So they're definitely going to have a very abundant life. They're going to feel like they have everything that they need, both materially and emotionally. I want to tell you guys, for those of you who have like struggled financially, or you are struggling financially, if you've ever had worries that your child would feel like they're going without, or they wouldn't feel supported, I want to tell you that they're going to feel so taken care of. Even in the chance that they maybe sometimes grew up with less than their friends, or they didn't get as many material things as other families might have, I feel like that's not even gonna, like, they would never know that. Oh my gosh, I'm thinking of, is it in Photograph by Nickelback? I never knew we ever went without. Like, they would never know that they went without, because they feel so rich from your love and from the connection that you guys have. So they would never feel like, oh, I didn't have enough as a child, I wasn't supported enough as a child. They feel like the freaking king of the world, because they have you and because they have your love. But I do think that they will grow up to create a lot of wealth for themselves. Both material wealth and emotional wealth, because abundance isn't just about money. We have a card that fell on the floor, and it's the King of Swords. So we have double king energy. So wow, they're going to be very, very mature, take really, really good care of themselves. They will likely be quite successful in their career. And then we also have Justice. So that's funny, because I was picking up on Libra energy before, and again, there's two, that's so funny. There's two pandas
in this card, and then there's 2 kings. So yeah, I feel like you guys have 2 spirit babies. Like you either have 2 children right now, or you have one and another one is on the way, but like they're coming out in pairs. 2 of Cups, 2 kids here, 2 kings here, 2 pandas on the Justice card. Yeah, they're making that pretty clear. But yeah, I definitely think that this is talking about them feeling very, very abundant. And then this King of Swords energy, I do think that as they get older, they will start to have a really strong sense of who they are and what they stand for. Whereas when they're younger, I feel like we talked about, they're kind of just like passing through, kind of breezing through and adapting energy from others. I think that as they get older and as they become aware of this pattern, and maybe also as they settle down, like settle down in one place, settle down in one community, they will start to really figure out like who they are, how they want to express themselves. And I think it's not that they stop being empathic or that they stop relating to people, but I think they're able to discern, because the King of Swords and Queen of Swords, they're all about discernment and mental clarity and using that to stand up for yourself. So I think they will reach a place where they can discern like what is their energy and what is not their energy, who they want to be friends with and who they don't want to be friends with. I think when they're younger, they might just kind of be friends with anyone or get along with just anyone. But as they get older, they start to realize more about like who they're actually compatible with and like who actually serves their highest good and contributes to their life. So they might have stronger boundaries as they're older. Maybe when they're a kid, they're friends with everybody in their class, but when they grow into an adult, they just have a smaller circle of really, really close friends. But yeah, I feel like they'll be more picky is not the right word, but they'll be more selective. There we go. They'll be more selective about their social circle. I also think it's really funny because I think that they're going to keep this inner child energy throughout their whole life, but I think that their job requires them to be like very, very serious and very, very professional. And for some reason it's coming to me like that's going to be so funny to witness as somebody who knows them. When you see them all suited up, like wearing their suit and tie and being all serious and giving orders, you're like, who is that? Because you know, like, oh, like just last night you were like walking around with an oven mitt on your head to make me laugh, or like you were dancing like a chicken to make me laugh. And now you're like up here in the board meeting giving people orders. I think that like duality is going to be very like endearing and very funny because you know the inner child that is within them. I don't even know this person and I feel like just, you know, laughing my head off at that. And then we have Justice here, which I don't know if this adds any other message other than what I've already said. And but actually the imagery is really interesting because this is them and they're in their beautiful, colorful world and they're like, like kicking this person away. It kind of looks like them establishing healthy boundaries. They have their sword to protect them, like the King of Swords. I think they're realizing that like not everyone is entitled to their time and their energy. And actually them being in your life might help to teach you this. Like they give you perspective. How can I explain it? Because you have something that is so precious to you, it really puts more into perspective like what does and doesn't matter in your life. And you stop giving energy to the things that don't matter. They put things back into perspective for you. Like I was caring about so many things that didn't matter. And now that I have like the biggest blessing in my life, I can see clearly this is what matters. This is not what matters. Oh, that's very nice. All right, so let's get into the Gummy Bear deck now and see what messages this child has for you. Oh, that was very fast. We have the Two of Wands. And then we have, oh, the King of Swords again. We have the King of Swords and the Five of Cups. Oh, that's actually really, really sweet. I do want to say that butterflies could be significant because of this this butterfly here, and these fairies have like butterfly looking wings as well, and actually this fairy has butterfly looking wings too. So I'm going to start here with the Two of Wands. The first thing they're saying, and I do think that this is a thank you from their future self or from their higher self, like you've kind of seen all different sides of me, you know, you've seen me in so many different like personalities throughout my life as I try to figure out who I am. You've seen my like mellow, peaceful side. You've seen my like energetic go-getter side. And I think what they're really grateful for is that no matter kind of what phase they were in, or no matter how they were expressing themselves, like you gave them the space to do that. And I think it's important that you don't say like, what are you doing? That's not you. So like whatever they're experiencing, whatever they're trying out, whatever moment they're in their life, you accepted that and you love them just the same. Because I think in their journey to finding themselves, the last thing they needed was like somebody else from the outside telling them who they are or who they should be. So it's like, thank you for letting me explore all the different facets of myself. And thank you for letting me discern for myself. And thank you for letting me change my mind and continue to evolve. And thank you for never trying to put me in a box. And it's because of that that I finally was able to find myself on my own terms and find the version of myself that it feels the best to be. And then with this King of Swords and Five of Cups, it's so funny. We were talking about, you know, the King of Swords being this very like serious and stoic energy, and the Two of Wands is about independence as well. And I feel like this is them saying, don't be sad. Like, you know, I'm gonna grow up and become like a serious, responsible adult, and I'm gonna have my own things to do, and I might be far away sometimes, and I might be acting different sometimes, but please don't be sad, because I'm still this silly little kid. I still have this inner child in me. Is it a car alarm? Or is someone honking? I don't know, but maybe that was them saying hi. But yeah, that's the last message I see from them. Like, even when you see me as this King of Swords, even when I'm getting older and more serious, like, don't be sad, because this is always still there. Like, I'm always gonna be your funny little baby. Yeah, so group number 6, these are all the messages I'm seeing for you, so I'm going to end your reading here. Thank you very, very much for letting me do this reading for you. I hope you have a wonderful day or night whenever you're watching, and I wish you all the best. Please take good care of yourself, stay healthy. Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe if you feel like doing that. I also have a Patreon, so if you guys are interested in seeing even more exclusive pick-a cards where you get to choose a topic, that will be linked down below too. And I have a music channel. The song that you guys heard at the very start of this video was an original song, so if you're interested in checking that one out or any of my other songs, that music channel will be linked below as well. I'm sending so much love to you, to your child, and to your whole spiritual team, and I will see you guys in the next one. Bye bye!